You're not getting it. Yes.
So,
That's it, man.
this is very odd tonight. This is very odd. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of July 13th, 2024, Rochester City Council. Roll call.
Mayor Jones,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bixson,
Here.
Council Members Clouser,
Here.
Bowser,
Here.
King,
Here.
Salvia,
Here.
and Trent.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up, public comment, scheduled, non-scheduled, and presentations. We are going to start with Chief Demo. Come on up. We got something fun and exciting from the fire department. Employees.
We're going to swear in some new firefighters that we've hired on the department. So I'm going to start, we're going to do each one individually, and then again, we'll get a group photo of
Awesome.
everybody. So,
Wonderful.
Ken, you go first.
Okay, face me. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ken McLaurin,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
for the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Gavin.
Thank you.
Okay, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gavin Rose,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
for the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Great photo.
Everyone's picture.
They're close enough, they don't see us.
Okay, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Anthony Bono,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
for the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Caleb.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sarah Hutter,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
for the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Just for the record, I can never get that right. It's impressive. No, I jinxed you.
Almost do verbatim.
All right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Lee Yap,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
There you go.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ethereum Palmerito,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter
for the fire department,
for the fire department,
for the City of Rochester,
for the City of Rochester,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Sign that, and we'll get a quick photo, and if everyone wants to join us,
Sure.
please.
Make it very big.
It'll be a very big photo.
While you guys are getting up there, Chief, congratulations on getting staffed up.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you six for joining our team. We really appreciate it. The residents of Rochester are very happy that we're at full staff and have folks like you, so good job.
I squish in.
You can squeeze in, you can squeeze in.
Everyone is over my head. Right, especially
Go ahead and lift you up.
Shoulders.
Does that work?
Does it work?
Okay.
With that?
Yes, it's fine. I just gotta, Mike, tell me if I'm. Hold on, I'll move. And wait.
Don't breathe.
Come up this way. Very good. Good, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Their names, is that an answer?
Guitar straps.
Okay, so we're there.
Just want to say thank you. I appreciate the support. It's great to have the new firefighters here. Every one of them is a paramedic, so that helps.
Yeah.
I thank you for the support. Appreciate your time. Have a good night.
Work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Firefighter, paramedics. That's good.
Nick Schaefer, is Gavin here? Yes, okay. So we have another fun thing. We're recognizing an Eagle Scout that appears to have helped with the gazebo at the Ludlow Tot Lot. So come on up, Nick. Do you want to introduce him? Yeah.
Okay. So my eye is on. Okay. Does somebody want to hit okay? Yeah.
Yeah, so real quick, I'll introduce Gavin. If you remember, probably maybe 3 months ago, that he came here looking for a project to do through his Eagle Scout. So with the Ludlow lot being redone, we thought how cool for him to redo the gazebo. So he's, Gavin has just been, I couldn't be more impressed with Gavin, just what he's displayed, his emails, the design he's come up with. He's got to do all the fundraising, so, I mean, just, and his mom's here tonight, I mean, hats off, he should be very proud, so.
Oh,
And,
lovely.
So, this is Gavin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin Drill. I am in Troop 208 out of Shelby Township, and I'm here today about my Eagle project. So, my Eagle project is going to be on remodeling the gazebo that is currently down in Rochester Municipal Park. Right now, its roof is kind of like falling apart is the best way to put it, and is being currently moved as the remodeling of the entire play structure. So, here I will show, I think this is the before and current image. So, right now, it is currently very wooden-ish and has looking like it's falling apart. And my vision is to fully remodel it, repaint it, re-roof it, giving some asphalt roofing, and making it all around better and looking like its surrounding infrastructure. So currently right now I'm in my fundraising phase for my project, and I need roughly a lot of money, but this yeah, I know, surprising, right?
Roughly a lot.
Surprise.
That's a good way to say it.
Roughly.
July 15th, or aka this Wednesday, you can drop off leftover bottles. So it can be glass, it can be plastic, it can be tin. And please bring it to the Department of Public Works for a drop-off for a bottle drive that I'm currently funding.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you for doing this.
Yep.
Can I just ask a quick
There.
question?
Yep.
What's your expected time frame on this?
My expected,
Obviously, fundraising is important before
Yeah.
you can start.
I want to make this done before school starts, so I'm at Stony Creek over there.
Awesome.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, we hope you get that.
Do you want just returnable glass?
Returnables, donations, if anyone wants to stop by, that'd be awesome. Yep.
Councilmember Hauser.
In your best way possible, can you maybe narrow down and be more specific on what roughly a lot is? When it comes to money, like what's the dollar amount that you
The
think
dollar
you're
amount
gonna
I'm
need?
trying to get down with help of Mr. Schaefer is $1,000.
$1,000.
Currently, I'm almost halfway done,
Okay,
but
so you need
still, with like the help of city-wide and like the people of Rochester, it would be a lot if you could please donate and help.
okay, so you need about another $500 or so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you,
Good
guys.
good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. So we have a Stony Creek student, and now we have the superintendent of schools. So Nick Russo, will you come on up, please?
You got a $500 check.
We could also use a lot of money.
Are you doing a bottle drive?
Bake sale.
Bake sale.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Jones, and thank you the city council for allowing me, I guess, like, am I doing this right? Don't send optional data, done.
And I do want to say something real quick.
Yes.
View? Maybe, slideshow, yeah.
After he is done with his presentation, and it's related to millage and spending, he'll touch real quick on at the 501 building.
So again, thank you for allowing me 5 to 10 minutes here, I guess, to present. There's been some discussion about what the enhancement millage is. It's coming up on a ballot on August 4th. I'll get to what that is and what it isn't in a few seconds here, but I do want to share with you, just for context, a short video. It's about 2 minutes long, and it talks about school funding. I know it's on everyone's to-do list is to learn about school funding, but it's very complex, and it's one of the reasons, and if it doesn't show, I'll just explain it. It doesn't look like it's gonna work here.
I should have had him bring my glasses.
Jeremy just walked out.
It's okay. So the idea, in terms of school funding, it's a 2-minute video that really talks about the change that happened in Proposal A, which was 1994. Before 1994 in Michigan, local community money went back to your local school districts. That changed in 1994. If some of you were living in Michigan at the time, you know that it lowered your property taxes almost by half at that time, and it changed the structure in which schools are funded. So now it's a big pot of money that comes from everyone in the state. It goes to Lansing. Lansing then divvies it back up to try to make it as equal as possible across the state. Because back then, before 1994, we had school districts that were getting, at that time, probably like $5,000 or $6,000 per student, and you had other districts that were getting $2,000 or $3,000 per student. And the inequities there was what they were trying to solve. And so that has done that to an extent. Most of us are at the same across the state. There's a few that are held harmless. A few of them are in Oakland County, a few in Macomb County, a few outliers like Beaver Island gets $42,000 per student because they're on an island.
42,000.
And so,
Wow.
yeah, but they have nothing there, right? So the whole purpose of that video is just to share that's where we are today, is that the only way we can raise any local funding or to raise money for ourselves is to do an enhancement millage by county. Okay? So if we go back to this slideshow and skip over that video.
Which, by the way, it really is a good video, and it is in our packet. So if anybody wants to watch it, they can go to tonight's meeting, right? And
Yes.
it's in there, so.
I'm assuming I can fast forward this. So, oh, now the video's playing. Of course it's playing.
There's nothing more important right now than our kids' education.
There you go.
But understanding how we fund our schools, not so easy. Before 1994, things were simpler. Local property taxes funded local schools. But that created problems. People were upset over high property taxes, and there were big funding gaps between school districts around the state. So in 1994, legislation was placed on the ballot. It was called Proposal A. Michigan voters approved it, and school funding in Michigan changed dramatically. After Proposal A, local homeowners' property taxes no longer funded local schools. Instead, a statewide education tax of 6 mills on all property was established. Other sources like state sales and income taxes, lottery revenue, and use taxes also contribute. So while local homeowners felt relief, small businesses did not. Proposal A limited how much this tax can increase, by 5% or the rate of inflation. After Proposal A, districts began receiving a per-pupil payment for the state called the Foundation Allowance. The state's lowest funded schools received a basic level of funding from the state. Over time, this narrowed the funding gap between school districts. Let's take a closer look at how the state allocates funds to school districts. The first step is to count the students. They do this twice, once in October, once in February. Each district's enrollment is calculated by adding 90% of the current October count to 10% of the previous February count. The state decides the amount of foundation allowance for each school district and multiplies that number by the number of students in the district. The foundation allowance has two components: state aid and local non-homestead property taxes. The state calculates their portion of the foundation allowance as if the district is collecting 18 mills, whether it actually does or not. If the voters do not approve the 18 mills levy, it does not receive the full foundation allowance. With taxpayer approval, districts can also tax local homestead property to fund construction, technology, and purchase of land. Here's how Rochester compares to some other districts in Michigan. As you can see, Rochester Community Schools' foundation allowance is quite modest. Rochester Community Schools plans a budget for every fiscal year that is sustainable and promotes growth, minimizes impacts on student programs, is team-based, supports the district's strategic plan, is open and transparent. While the foundation allowance is the major source of funding for Rochester Community Schools, it's not everything. It also gets a tiny bit of federal funding. Inter-district funding comes from the County Act 18 Special Education Tax. Let's take a closer look at where that revenue comes from. It includes the renewable 18 mil non-homestead property tax, tuition from special programs, dues and fees, community service like preschool, and other miscellaneous sources. So, how does the district spend its funds? It budgets in 4 main buckets. Instruction, 60%. That's salaries for teachers to educate our kids. And supportive services, 38%, like counselors, speech therapists, psychologists, social workers, athletics, transportation, operations and maintenance, administration, and community service, such as recreation and enrichment programs and school-aged care. And finally, debt service and capital outlay, like paying for copiers, furniture, and equipment. Most of what school districts spend their money on is salaries and benefits. For teachers and support staff, that makes up to 82% of the RCS budget, and the district carefully monitors the budget to make sure it doesn't overspend. The district also maintains an adequate fund balance to make sure it has enough money to continue operations in case of surprise expenses or state revenue shortfalls. This is especially important since school districts don't receive the first payment of the year until October, after school starts. It sure is complicated, but here are 3 things to know. 1, Proposal A limits how much funding Rochester Community Schools or any local district can raise through property taxes. 2, Rochester Community Schools performs competitively on a modest foundation allowance. 3, Rochester Community Schools maintains an adequate fund balance to hedge against uncertainty and ensure stable operations. So thanks for watching, and thanks for caring about our children's education.
So currently, to put that in a little bit of context, we're about $280 million annually, and we have $48 million in fund balance as of June 30. This is the first time we had to dip into our fund balance a little bit coming into this year. And so not only was Rochester part of this, right? It's an Oakland County enhancement millage. It's a regional enhancement millage. So if you look up on the screen, this goes back to what we said about enhancement or proposal A, and what this is the exception is how we can raise some funds. Everyone in the county, every school board in the county voted whether to say this was a good thing to put in front of voters or not. And 22 out of 28 districts voted to put this in front of voters for August 4th. It passes and fails on a countywide basis. So if it's 51% no, nobody gets the money. 51% yes, everybody gets the money in the county. And then if it does pass, then those monies are then distributed back to us, which equals, I'll go to the next slide. I'll go to a couple slides. This is before I get to how much that is and what it is. These are counties in this state that currently have an enhancement millage. One of which constitutes 44% of all public school kids in the state of Michigan are supported by an enhancement millage across the state. One of the big reasons that the Oakland County school boards, in my opinion, was time to go for this, we had talked about this for about 10 to 15 years, and we never put it to a ballot because boards were not supportive of it. Quite frankly, I think there were many reasons why, different reasons over time. But once Wayne County and you'll see Macomb County both pass theirs, what we're seeing is offerings in those nearby adjacent counties, not only in teachers' salaries and benefits, but in programming for students that, in my opinion, force the conversation to a different level, and more school boards were supportive of it. So what it is, it's August 4th, 2026. It's 1.5 mils to be levied over 6 years. So at the end of 6 years, if this were to pass, we would then decide, is this something we still need based on the volatility or incredible, all of a sudden the state's giving us a bunch of money, whether that's needed again after 6 years. It generates approximately $781 per pupil per year. And we say that's approximate because it's based on property tax values and the amount of students you're serving. So you can see there on the next bullet point, it costs approximately $300 per year on a home valued at $400,000. So I just want to be clear, there's a lot of questions about this on social media and coming to me when I do these presentations in my district. The home value is what your value is. It's not the SEV, which is your state equalized value. It's not that. So if your home is worth $400,000, it would be $300 a year at home value. That if it was $600,000, you would do the math. It's about $150 for every $200,000 home value. And then these are just some of the things that we have increasing demands on our general fund, and some of the reasons that we would think this is a benefit to our district. Safety and security, 20 years ago, there was $0 spent on safety and security, almost $0 spent across districts. Now, we spend millions per year on safety and security. Some of that is funded through the state in grants, some of it is not. New course offerings. In order to get courses up and running or alternative education programs, which we're looking at our strategic plan, changing our start times, things like that we're potentially looking at, all those things cost money. One of the biggest things I think really that everyone sees in your personal life and your work life is rising healthcare costs. Double-digit increases over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, about $25 million of our budget. We are self-funded, so that's also it's not a great way to predetermine how much you're going to spend because we're self-funded with such a large group of over 1,000 employees. We choose to self-fund. And competitive wages, I had mentioned before, with Macomb and Wayne being so close, they're able to do a little bit more with the enhancement millages that they have. And then just a few other things that are really kind of front and center for us right now. Transportation, for example, we have postponed, in trying to be fiscally responsible, we have postponed the purchasing of buses over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. The length of a bus, or the longevity of a bus, after about 10 or 12 years, you have to start replacing them, and we have about a dozen buses that need to be replaced. A cost of a single bus is about $120,000. Cost of a special education bus is $150,000. And so these are just costs that don't get built into the general fund all the time. And so those are just some of the things. We have a major need in our auditoriums. We are fixing, if any of you have students at Stony, we are fixing the lift as we speak. So that's been a need for a long time. I'm glad I did that. Yeah, they're working on that right now. So these are just some of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention. I was very thankful that Mayor Jones asked me to speak tonight because I think there's a lot of questions out there, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is and what it isn't. What it is it can be used for things that in comparison to like a bond where you have to spend it on capital projects, brick and mortar, roof, et cetera. This can be spent for teacher salaries. It can be spent for purchasing a bus. It can be spent for striping your parking lot. It can be spent on students. So there isn't a limit. For us, it's not a restricted funding source. Okay. Any questions?
Council? No?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
501. So very quick, I recommended to our Board of Education that we put 501 West University up for sale because we didn't have a need for it based on our enrollment and the space we have available across the district. And so it is currently out for RFP. I think it closes end of July. So once that happens, you'll have, hopefully, we have August and September meetings planned to discuss what those RFPs bring to us, whether it's for someone to use for a residential, community center. There's a lot of ideas coming in, but we'll evaluate those and present them to our board, and hopefully a decision will be made.
Thank you. Awesome.
Any
Thank you for
questions?
coming. We good?
Sorry,
Everyone's
it took
good?
a long time.
Oh, Councilmember Trent.
About 501, I have people have a lot of questions. I just wondered, is there any priority given to a developer who doesn't want to tear down that building? Is there any credence given to that or additional?
It is part of the
do they get additional points?
Yeah, it's part of the criteria to say what they're going to do with it. I think our board at our one of our June meetings, I can't remember, it was the 8th or the 22nd, made it very clear that we're still going to be carry our fiduciary responsibility and make sure that we're not getting under what we should be getting for it. And so there's that. It's what is its use. If a builder or a developer wants to come in and refurbish the building as is, that'll be part of what we look at. If it's a complete knockdown and then they want to build, I think the most out of the proposals I've seen before the RFP went out, when people were just trying to tell me what they wanted to do, I think it's between 22 and 28 homes is all you can fit on a 4.3 acre lot. And so all of the things are taken into consideration, but we want to make sure that there's a funding source that goes with it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, is there any public comment on anything that is not already on the agenda? Come on in. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Gabe McCoy, and I live at 864 Honeycrisp in Rochester Hills.
We will not hold that against you.
Thanks. I'm the Vice President and Media Director for Friends of the Clinton River Trail. And for a decade in the past, the Friends held an annual fundraiser called the Fall Classic. After a several-year hiatus, I'm excited to let Rochester know that the Fall Classic is returning this September. The Ride or Stride event is family-friendly and for all ages. There will be cycling routes ranging from 8 to 25 miles, some traveling through all 5 of the Clinton River Trail communities. Walkers and runners will have options from 1 to 3 miles. This is not a race. All are welcome to participate at their own pace. What's really exciting about this year's event, it will showcase several projects expected to be complete by event day. The Elizabeth Street Respite Area, the long-awaited North Spur Addition in Pontiac, and of course, the repaired Rochester washouts, which I'm sure everyone in this room is as excited about as I am, and is thanks in part to this council and the Rochester community. The Fall Classic will take place between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Sunday, September 27th. The start, end, and event headquarters will be just across the Paint Creek from us at Kiwanis Pavilion in Rochester Municipal Park. Registration is $35 and includes a t-shirt, food, and fun. Proceeds go toward helping keep the Clinton River Trail a premier path throughout its 16 miles. So we invite you and all of Rochester to join us Sunday, September 27th. Spread the word and go to clintonrivertrail.org to register. Thanks, and see you on the trail.
Thank you. Thank you. Very exciting. Oh, sorry, Councilmember
I
King.
know we don't usually go back and forth, but since he's here, we did get an email. I think it went to all of council, or maybe it was forwarded to me because I'm on the Paint Creek Trailways Commission, but it would be the Clinton River, so I want to address it, if that's okay?
As if it's about bikes and such, we're
No,
going to
it's
address
not.
that later. Okay,
Nope.
yeah, I don't know why not. Sure.
Okay. There is, on the Clinton River Trail, where the split is to go to the McCormick Orchard Trail, the Paint Creek Trail, and Clinton River, right when you turn onto it, there is kind of that blind corner when you're crossing the bridge. And it goes along the river downtown, and you go under the bridge south of town. So one of the members of the community had reached out, sent some pictures in, and I've written that myself. You go around that corner and it's blind, so they had made a recommendation if we could look to add mirrors. And I didn't know if that's something that maybe the Friends of the Clinton River could help us with.
Before you start, I think
Yeah.
city manager has some input.
I do, so that's not the first time that's been asking it. Back in all the time we've evaluated that, it creates a false sense of security. Not everybody would look up at that mirror. So for liability reasons, we never put mirrors up there. It isn't really a blind corner. If you're on a bike and you come to the intersection, you should be looking. But we've evaluated before and passed on it, no matter who was funding it. That's our history there, so. And now with the respite area, it's gonna even be more calming when you get there. You can't just blast through that once that's done, so, that's what I got.
Okay. I don't know.
Agreed, okay.
I guess personally, we can talk about it offline, but I think personally, like, having visibility versus not having, and it is a 90-degree turn, so I would call it a blind corner. I don't know, can we have further conversation?
Sure.
Just seems,
Okay. All right,
Yeah, if it's something council wants to do, we'd be happy to be involved, I'm sure.
okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so, is Megan? Megan's here, right? Yes. Megan, was there any public comment right now?
Thank you. We have no one online.
Oh, was there one other person here? If it's not on the agenda, yeah, okay. Yes,
I don't know if this is where I would do this, as far as stop signs on roads that have S.
come on up. State your name and your address, please.
Jane Helen, I live at 331 Parkdale. The second time within the time I've lived there, which is 9 years, there's been a major accident. Telephone pole was split in half about 2 weeks ago from a car out of control. I've brought it up before with the police department. There's a flasher sign between Loonsbury and Elizabeth. People don't pay any attention to it. They come around the corner off of Romeo, fly past my house. It's flashing red, which means that they're going too fast. They hit that, it goes white because they braked. It's now 24 that they're at, supposedly. And then they take off again. Same thing coming the other way. It's a race to see if you can make the light at Parkdale and Romeo. And I don't know what has to happen to get stop signs on that street. And I would say the same is true for Romeo Road. There are no crosswalks. I walk my dog every day. I walk it all over town. There's no, people don't stop for you. You don't walk out in a crosswalk because chances are you're gonna get hit. So I don't know what has to happen before, Ludlow is the same way, before stop signs are put in there to slow traffic down. Because people use it as cut-throughs, so they don't have to go on Second and wait for the light there. They come down Parkdale. As I say, I don't know how you get that addressed and who I address it to. You, the police.
It would be the police
At one point,
chief.
it was
And he's here
Oakland
and-
County,
Yep.
yeah.
It would be through our police chief, and he's, I'm
Okay.
sure, taking notes, so,
Okay.
yes.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I appreciate that. Anyone else? Okay, so the approval of the consent agenda, consideration of the minutes for the regular meeting of June 22nd, 2026, and the receipt of check registers. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Hauser, and is there support?
No support.
Councilmember Trent, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
All right, there is no old business, no public hearings for legislative deliberation. We have consideration of the bicycle, e-bike ordinance. It's the second reading and adoption. I'm going to start with the city attorney, and then Chief George will come up.
We will.
When they're done, make their
Well, they have to do the
presentations.
presentation first. Yeah, no, I'm sure there's quite a few people here tonight with public comments, so we'll definitely do that. Do you want to start?
I
I think
will.
city attorney will start.
I'll start just procedurally. Before you is an ordinance amendment proposed, and it's labeled the the bicycle and motorized devices on sidewalk ordinance. And I know that the police chief has a presentation that he's going to forward, but I thought I'd give a little bit of the background on how we got here. At council's May 25 meeting, council had a robust discussion regarding the possible regulation of bicycles and e-bikes and similar wheeled devices on city sidewalks. And primarily, we're talking in the downtown area. So the area of most discussion and debate centered around the boundaries of the restricted area. As placeholder in the ordinance today is the downtown areas deemed to be beginning at the intersection of Main Street and Second Street and extending northerly to the Main Street and Romeo. I know that there was a discussion at city council level about whether that should be south of Second Street or maybe a stop at University. So that's up for council to decide if it wants to proceed, what the boundaries north and south it would like to see in here. Essentially, what it would require is for the laundry list of different bicycles and motorized devices that are all defined and listed in the ordinance from people from being able to ride them in those, on the sidewalks in that area. There's been a number of complaints over the years regarding the congestion on the sidewalks and the people's utilization of the wheeled devices. And so it was asked of administration to come forth and bring forth an ordinance to prohibit riding them. You'd have to get off the device and walk them. A number of communities have gone to this route. I was just driving through Birmingham last week, and I saw a little placard that said, get off your bike here, or, it designated the zones. And I know council's biggest concern is safety of the public, number one. And number two is to make sure that people know what the rules are. And I know that Chief has spent quite a bit of time, as you can see in the packet, about the education pieces and how he intends to roll this out. This is not meant to be a heavy-handed, I see you on a bike and you're getting a ticket and we'll see you at court next week. It's an education-centered approach first. But when you have multiple offenses, because they'll take your information, it could lead to taking of your device, or it could end up being a citation that would be handled in court. And so all of that information is in here. At that meeting, City Council moved for first reading in introduction. So the next step, if City Council wants to move forward with this, and there can be some changes tonight, and that wouldn't stop the process for moving forward, would be someone to move it for second reading and adoption from a procedural standpoint. And I don't know if I've talked long enough to get the police chief the ability to, yeah. I get paid by the word, so it's good.
I am going to interject when you're done.
Please,
just real quick.
please. No, and this is the same ordinance as council looked at back in May. And happy to answer any questions. I know the police chief has taken the bull by the horns on this. And we are ready to discuss what issues council would like.
Okay, so before Chief gets into his, nicely done, his presentation is just to clarify. So tonight, we are just deciding on what we're doing on Main Street with walking your bike. I know, and we're looking forward to public comment, there's concerns about reckless use of some of the vehicles and also in the park and going too fast. That is definitely a concern. We've heard a lot from residents. We feel like this is step one. We will address those issues after we see how this rolls out. And we have to consider things like there's already a park ordinance that says you can't drink in the park, you can't have loud music in the park. Is this something we look at with that ordinance as far as speed on these? So there's a lot to dig into. So we feel like this is just a baby step, starting with downtown. Does that make sense? Everybody? Yes.
Yeah.
Councilmember King.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise one thing. I think when we moved it forward at the last meeting, we had agreed to move it forward with university to, what is that, second?
Right, right.
In here, it's showing two options, but the ordinance itself does read from Romeo. I think we struck that. So the ordinance language doesn't seem to have been amended.
If I
Right.
can.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of discussion, it was an open-ended, so that's why in my memo I said that there was discussion of, there wasn't a vote, and there was differences of opinion as to where the start and stop is, so I just left the information in, so that can be changed. When the motion would be, let's say, for instance, the decision is, we want the boundaries to be University to Second Street, then the motion would be to move it for second reading and adoption with the boundaries to be, and then I would make those changes. So that was just not a definite decision by city council last meeting, so that's why it just stayed the same.
And I think that, so today, I think after and thanks to Chief for doing lots of research, and he has quite a bit to present, we would decide that, the boundaries, because there's still a little discussion, maybe not all the way up to Romeo, but, and how we're signing this. If we decide to move forward, those would be two pieces we would have to decide.
This is the second reading and adoption, correct?
Correct.
Tonight, we will vote on it, yeah. Okay, take it away.
So, good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, so one of the things is how we got here. So we were back here on May 26th of this year, and there was a lot of dialogue about this, and it's totally understandable. We talked about vehicle scope, what vehicles would be allowed on the sidewalks, which vehicles would not. We talked about what are the specific safety zones. We talked about signage, what kind of signs, where the signage would be posted. We talked about enforcement, and we also talked about implementation. So I just want to make it clear, because there was a couple comments on Facebook about our intent about this. The city of Rochester and the police department are not against bicycles or e-bikes or scooters. Actually, we promote those things. All we're asking for is to create a small safety zone in our downtown area for safety reasons, for safety for the pedestrians and also for the riders. And why we want to do that? Because we're very unique. This is a very unique city here. You know, no two cities are the same. We have multiple events every year here. We have heavy traffic, we have vehicle traffic, pedestrian traffic, all day, all night. I have some photos here. I'll show you some of the sidewalks. We have very narrow sidewalks throughout our downtown area. A lot of the business doors swing out rather than in. That can cause an issue. And we really don't have any designated bike lanes on Main Street because of the width of the street. And plus, we have parking on both sides. So here's one photo of our downtown area. It just shows you, you see a lot of planter boxes. You'll see an eating area out there, flower pots, garbage cans. And this gentleman's walking. You can see how much room is on each side of him. There's not much room left. That's an eating area downtown. Very difficult for many people to walk, to and, back and forth there. Plus, with bikes going back and forth, it's just a safety issue. So what the state law allows, right now the state of Michigan allows bikes on sidewalks, regular bikes, e-bikes, scooters. What's nice about that, the state recognizes that each city is unique. Each city has its own needs. So the issue that we have is the enforcement. Right now, all the state recommends is if you yield for a pedestrian. Well, people with the traffic noise, people with earphones or headphones when they're walking, they don't hear. on your left, they don't hear that. So, plus that's a civil infraction. I can't write a civil infraction on behalf of somebody else. Typically, the only civil infractions that we write are at an accident scene based on somebody's word. That's all we write civil infractions for. Then people say, well, you can write them for reckless driving. Reckless driving is very subjective. If you look in the motor vehicle code book, it says a willful and wanton disregard for life and property. Now, speeding on the sidewalk, a willful, wanton disregard for life and property, I don't think so. There's no speed limits on the sidewalk, so that's going to be very difficult to enforce unless someone's trying to purposely run somebody over. That's a different story. So what changes with the ordinance? So if we have an ordinance, it's clear and concise. If we see somebody on the sidewalk, whether they're yielding for somebody or not, we know they don't belong on the sidewalk. We know that if there's a complaint or if we observe it, we go up to them and say, hey, this is you have to dismount your bike and walk. This is a safety area. There must be an equal balance between pedestrian safety and the use of these devices for leisure. And again, I do appreciate people having fun, being outdoors, riding with their bikes and their family. I get it. It's nice. But pedestrians on the sidewalk, you have a lot of young kids, a lot of strollers on the sidewalk. You have mothers with carriers, with their babies near their chest. They expect to be safe, and also riders. I mean, if you have multiple riders on the sidewalk, they expect to be safe too. I'm surprised we don't have that many collisions, but we're seeing more and more of these bikes on the sidewalk each day, and you see other communities too. So signs alone, someone mentioned, well, why don't we just put a sign up and say, hey, just walk your bike during, on the downtown area with no ordinance. That's not going to work. I mean, we need some teeth. We need some education. Just putting a sign on the downtown area is just not enough. So the three outcomes of this plan is, number one, obviously we want safety. We're concerned about the pedestrian safety. We're concerned about rider safety. Education, that's the biggest proponent of this ordinance. We're going to use community outreach. We're going to hit many disciplines. We're going to use all the educational tools we can. We want everyone to know about the safety zone if this is implemented. And liability reduction, the fact that we're making people get off their bikes and walk them, that reduces our liability for the city. So what I did is, I like to create a 120-day rollout plan for this. And I'll explain each one, but number one, in this 120 days, that could be reduced. It all depends how quickly we move in this. So day 1 through 30, we're going to build a foundation. That's what we're here today. Number 2 is the education. That's day 31 through 60. The soft launch is going to be 61 through 90, and then 91 through 120, phase 4. That'd be the full implementation. So we'll talk about the foundation. So today, I'd like to see council agree that this is the ordinance. We want to select the safety zones. My recommendation for the safety zone, I know it's in the original document, it's a 2nd Street to Romeo. I recommend from bridge to bridge on the south end of the city, the bridge, the northern part to the northern part at Paint Creek. Second would be from the south bridge all the way to University. That'd be my second choice, but that's just my opinion. I like to work with the DDA members because they're going to help us educate the public, because all the people go in the stores, they shop. We're going to have flyers, and I'll show you a flyer I came up with. We like to talk about the signage. Where do we want the signs? How big the signs are? Do we want A-frame signs? Do we want them on posts? Do we want signs on the ground? Establish enforcement protocols. That's up to me. That's where we educate our officers, what to do in situations like this. We want them to use good discretion and set a baseline. We want to track from day 1 to the 120 days what's going on, what kind of adjustments we need to make. Phase 2 is the education. This is the most important thing. This is where we're going to install signs. We're going to put pavement markings down. This is where we're going to launch our outreach program. We're going to develop literature. I like to be include the OPC, the library, the city hall, our police department, our downtown businesses will all have literature. I'm gonna get my school liaison officers involved. I have 2 of them assigned to all the schools. They can instruct, they can send letters home to the parents, they can instruct the kids in the school. I like to engage our HOAs. I've been to a number of HOA meetings over the past 3 years. That's a great place to go and talk to all the HOA people about our new rules. We can use social media. We have an outstanding platform, our police department, our fire department, the city. We can use local media. I've had media call me, but I'm not making any statements until this is approved or not approved. And again, training with our police officers. This is one of the little literature I made. It could be a flyer. You can walk into a business and pick up a flyer. You can get these flyers at the library or OPC. And it basically explains what the ordinance is all about, where you can mount, dismount, what's the purpose of it. And we put the fines down there. That's a civil infraction. The fines are very minor, but you have to show some type of, penalty for noncompliance. Phase 3 is a soft launch and warnings. So in this phase, we would, if we see somebody with a bike or e-bike or scooter, we're going to warn them only. We're not going to issue any citations. However, if somebody's driving recklessly, or we warned them before, and we have their name on file, then they would be issued a citation. But the goal here is just to warn people. The education continues. We're going to continue educating people. We're going to continue making the flyers, putting them out in the public. We're going to track hot spots. Are there areas in our downtown where we're getting all the traction with the bikes? Maybe we have to focus on that area a little bit more, do a little bit more enforcement, a little bit more educating in that area. Gather public feedback. I think this is important. We would like feedback from our business community, our public, anyone that works in the city. Maybe we're doing something wrong, or maybe we missed something. We would like to hear from you. The signs and the marking audit, I want to make sure these signs are appropriately affixed. There's enough of them, and they clearly show what the safety zone's all about. And the daily contact logging. We're going to keep track of the number of stops we make, the number of warnings, how many citations we issued, the dates and times, so we can track, again, hot spots, hot times, and this will all go into a report. And last but not least, the full implementation. This is where the warnings turn to full enforcement. Again, education is going to continue during this phase. We're never going to stop educating the public. We're going to review our statistics, see where we're at. We're going to recommend modifications because this is a new thing. We're going to have to probably make some changes, and we'll make changes if we have to. And then again, all the information that I get, probably after 3 months starting off, I would like to come back to council and let you know what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong, what changes that we're recommending. But that is it for now. So the main thing tonight is agreeing on this ordinance. Is number one is picking the safety zone. Which area do you want the safety zone to be? What vehicles do you want people to dismount on? Are we going to leave bikes out? Are we going to leave them in? Are we going to leave, obviously we're going to, we don't want e-bikes on the sidewalks. We don't want electric scooters or skateboards or anything like that. But that's something that you would have to decide. And signage. What kind of signage do you want? Do you want them on the posts? Do you want them on the sidewalk? Do you want A-frame signs? Once we can agree on that, the rest is going to be, I think this is going to be fun, but it's going to be easy. We've been receiving a lot of calls, or positive calls. People are excited about this. I think based on those photos that you've seen, plus your personal observations and my personal observations, it's tight downtown. It's very tight down there. Beautiful downtown, very vibrant, but it's tight. And all we're doing is tightening up a little bit, creating a little bit more safety. And by the way, this will not apply to people with disabilities. If they have a cart or a little motorized cart, that's fine. It doesn't apply to police officers or firefighters. in the performance of our duties. So there were some questions about, people that are disabled. This will not apply to people that are disabled. So,
In a wheelchair.
other than that, I provided you with just about everything I could provide you on e-bikes, class 1, 2, 3s, wattage, pedals, no pedals. So I think the rest is up to you. Whatever you decide, I will support. Whatever safety zone, I will support. I just would like to move forward with this, but it is exciting, so.
Okay, thank you. Would we start with public comment then, and then we'll go to council, or? Okay, okay, I guess we're set for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So anyone in the audience that has any public that has comments, and you step on up and your name and address, and we'll go one by one. We'll get you all up here.
Good evening. My name is Emily Smith Heber. I'm from Rochester Hills, 89810 Point in Rochester Hills. I'm a member of the Friends of the Clinton River Trail, and I saw a post from Representative Hauser about this meeting, and I contacted him because I didn't know about your ordinance that was coming. So we had a short meeting with Representative Hauser, and we just wanted to say that the Friends of the Clinton River appreciate the City of Rochester's work to promote safe and fair interactions between pedestrians, bikes, and motor vehicles. This ordinance is a good example of this work. We also appreciate this does not apply to the Paint Creek Trail, the Riverwalk, or the Clinton River Trail at this time. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Next, come on up.
Yeah, hi, I'm John Brabs, and I live at 523 Elizabeth Street here in Rochester, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm a runner, walker, cyclist, so I'm out on the trails, the sidewalks. I was walking in downtown today too, but I just wanted to make sure with the plan to prohibit the bikes and the motorized devices on Main Street, I think it would be nice if you guys would also start looking at including like a bike lane on Main Street, and on the streets parallel for cyclists, because if you're forcing people to be off the sidewalks, because I saw people, today on the sidewalks with bikes, and again, I'm not for that, especially on Main Street, but I feel like it also needs to be with the idea of, make sure it's safe for the cyclists too, and I think look at, where, if people can't be riding on those, sidewalks on Main Street, then provide them where they can ride, because some people aren't gonna wanna have to walk that whole distance of bike, that, if they're cycling and they wanna go there and maybe visit something in downtown, they're gonna wanna be able to ride, and again, I understand that concern with safety, but, I also feel riding around this area, it's not the safest a lot of times for cyclists. There are no bike lanes, we have the Clinton River Trail, the Paint Creek Trail, the path that goes in between, as it was mentioned, but other than that, a lot of times you're crossing areas that isn't always that safe, so that was one of the things, and then, I think, in the signage should be included to where you can ride, not just telling people you can't ride here, but where can you ride, and then I think also looking at, making sure that there's plenty of places for people to park and lock their bikes, in the downtown area, so that if they wanna get off, walk around, they have somewhere to do that. I think as part of this, I've been around a lot of other cities, even this year already, like out in California, I was riding, and there was a lot of places that did a really good job on having, bike lanes and stuff like that to ride, even riding through downtowns, and I guess that would be another thing to, maybe part of it would be to put one of the lanes, of traffic down there that has like share the lane with bicyclists. And then the other thing I saw was in the section, I think of, I think it was 52-235, where it was talking about, the right of way to pedestrians, and, I guess the main concern I have there is I feel like, that should also include the, if you're on sidewalks, even walking or whatever, that these are two-way paths, and making sure people are giving people plenty of room, and that was the other thing I noticed, and I know, The police chief was showing too that, if you look down there on the sidewalks today when I'm walking, they're not even that great for walking because you've got, the eating areas and things. It would be nice if you could move the eating areas out. And that's what I see in a lot of other cities where the eating areas are moved out closer to the actual street, so to make sure you have plenty, the room to walk is all open. And, and moving all the signs, flower pots, whatever, should all be cleared off, because if you got a lot of people down there, it's tough enough trying to walk, but making sure people know it's going both ways. So, again, I think that would be part of educating people. And I know tonight you're not really talking about the other paths, but that's the thing, if, as you look at that, I think it's educating people just in general, being on paths and two-way traffic and sharing it and not stopping in the middle of paths and stuff like that. So, and then I did want to comment on the one thing about the blind corner on the Clinton River Trail. It is a blind corner. I ride it a lot. So I do have to be really careful going around that corner because I always am worried I'm going to get plowed into by somebody when I'm on my bike and stuff. So, and then I think the last thing on that is even the crosswalks downtown, it'd be nice to see those made safer to walk across, because I have been hit walking across Main Street before. Luckily I didn't get hurt, but I think all the crosswalks could be made safer too in downtown, and more signage there to get cars to watch and slow down. So appreciate for the time, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, come on up.
Right. Hello again. My name is Gabe McCoy, and I live at 864 Honeycrisp in Rochester Hills. I am a board member at Friends of the Clinton River Trail, but I'm making these comments in my personal capacity. I live south of Bloomer Park, and while I'm not a Rochester resident, downtown Rochester is where I go for things that downtowns offer: food, drinks, haircuts, which I am due for, shopping, farmer's market, those sorts of things. And I most frequently choose my bike or my Class 3 e-bike rather than my car as my transportation mode. I'm a bike commuter. Whether part of my commute or a dedicated errand, I frequently bike to downtown. I also walk in downtown, and I support this new ordinance against bikes, e-bikes, and mobility devices on Main Street sidewalks from 2nd to University. I support it because of the precise nature. Many communities are banning e-bikes and mobility devices altogether without really thinking about the later consequences. And I appreciate that this proposal is limited to where it makes sense, leaving the Riverwalk and other trails, parks, and side paths in the city open for people like me to use. They are critical active transportation infrastructure. I also support the ban ending at University or the Bridge rather than Romeo, just because Rochester Road is the only direct north-south cycling route across Paint Creek from downtown. All that said, I do encourage council to think even bigger on these changes. The far greater problem than personal mobility devices in downtown is the space dedicated to motor vehicles. They're dangerous, dirty, and noisy. They make downtown less of a nice place for humans to be. Did you know that according to NHTSA, drivers of automobiles kill roughly 7,000 pedestrians every year in the US, and that number is generally rising year over year? I know that e-bikes are culturally relevant right now, but they aren't where the main focus should be. So big picture, long term, I'd really like to see a reduction in travel lanes and the elimination of on-street parking on Rochester Road. Reclaim that space for people walking, for wider sidewalks, and for outdoor shops and restaurant patios, things like that. Add dedicated and separated space for bikes and mobility devices, bike lanes. Businesses will worry about losing their street parking, but similar changes in other cities have been met with similar criticism, only to find that customer volumes increased after the changes. People, not cars, shop at businesses, so there are economic benefits to making storefronts more inviting places for people. Parking revenue will likely shift to other metered spaces on the backside of Main Street. Strong Towns, which is an awesome organization, has some great resources on this. I'll also note that I sent this proposed ordinance to the League of Michigan Bicyclists for their comments. They also praised the precise nature, but, and without my prompting, they also brought up that downtown Rochester is very car heavy and could be improved by dedicating more space to people. I know and understand that Rochester Road is a critical artery for northern Oakland County, and it's an MDOT road, so this redesign would be really, really challenging. I'm here to voice this desire for radical change in hope of one day disrupting the status quo. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Mrs. Shepherd.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Margaret Shepherd. I live at 628 Rewell Drive, and I'm in favor of this ordinance. We walk not as much as we once did because we're becoming elderly, and we don't have as good a balance as we once did. So it does cause a problem if a bicycle comes on us and we can't get out of the way quickly enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Step on up.
Hi, my name is Evan Running. I live at 668 North Main Street. I guess I didn't really prepare a whole lot to say today, but I understand, why we're, where this proposal is coming from, this ordinance amendment. These new devices are causing a safety issue, and I get it, and I get the, the desire to just, do away with them as best we can in the most critical areas. Because, truth be told, our sidewalks are really narrow, and there's not a whole lot of space for bikes, e-bikes, other mobility devices, and pedestrians. I think, when you're downtown, you should feel comfortable shopping, holding hands with your partner, and not feel like you're blocking someone's way or anything like that, and not feel in danger, especially, of being run over. But I think the fact that we're having this conversation is just proof that we have a serious unmet need to accommodate other modes of transportation. That's bikes and electric mobility devices and e-bikes. We need to do better with accommodating these devices in Rochester, because they present a fantastic opportunity for us to meet our mobility needs by means other than driving and parking. The more people that walk and bike, the better. I know some of you are on planning commission. How many times does a proposal come through and the objection to it is traffic and parking? It happens all the time. So if we need to support these as best we possibly can, and for that, really, they need their own lane. We need like proper, true bicycle infrastructure in Rochester. And I know the chief of police mentioned that our Main Street is pretty narrow. It can feel like that, because there's so little space on the sidewalks. But if you're downtown during Lanyap, or for caroling in the city when the street is closed to vehicles, you get a sense of just how grand and beautiful our Main Street is. We've got 100 feet from building face to building face. And most of that has been turned over for, throughput of automobile traffic. We've got four travel lanes and a center turning lane, and each of those lanes are 11 feet wide. Then we've got parking lanes on either side. Of those 100 feet, 72 of them are dedicated to motor traffic. That's where the problem is coming from. There's not enough space for the human aspects of our Main Street. So I know this is, MDOT, Main Street is an MDOT highway. It's their call, it's their road. But, we take, you guys especially take a lot of, you guys have a lot of leverage in telling them what we need. Because, they frankly don't, the only thing that MDOT can see is what's measurable. And to them, that's just traffic counts. That's delay. It's level of service. It's stuff like that, So, I think if we tell them like what we want to see out of our Main Street, I think they might listen, because M150 is kind of an orphan anyway. It doesn't really do a whole lot for regional mobility. So, it's only 3 miles long, 3.5 miles long. It's not a major connector that connects regions. So I think MDOT would be willing to dedicate some of the space that's previously used for moving motor traffic to accommodating the real and present unmet needs that we have for mobility here in Rochester. So I guess I'll just say that, I'll just close out by saying, I live on Main Street, I work on Main Street, I walk up and down Main Street all the time, I bike Main Street, and I know, I feel like an encumbrance if I bike on the sidewalk. So I bike in the road with the automobiles. in the travel lanes. And I'm gonna tell you, sharrows are not good enough. Just sharing the lane with motor traffic is not good enough. Because when I go out on my bike on Main Street, I wonder, am I gonna die today?
Oh, my God.
You know? I get threatened by motorists. I get honked at. I've had one person threaten to turn me into an organ donor, you know, for riding a bike on my own street. So, you know, I really, really, really want to see a change on Main Street, and in a way that's more accommodating to the humans that live here, rather than the mobility objectives of MDOT. So, that's it. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Good evening, I'm Stephanie Bauer, I live at 608 Ludlow, and I really appreciate all the comments tonight, and I got a lot of good insight. I too think it makes sense to restrict bikes on the street, for all the reasons that have been stated. I do think, though, we're overlooking the fact that these modes of transportation are not going away. In fact, some cities have rental scooters and encourage this activity, right? So here we are saying no, and I think before we do that, maybe we should think, what are the alternative detours? So that we don't restrict that mode of transportation, but yet we detour it around, whether it's through the alleys or Walnut and Water or something, designated bike lanes to encourage that activity. You know, think about it. We all want to get people out of their cars and have different ways to get to the city. We encourage that. We're very walkable. So I don't want to lose that and then have everybody driving downtown and now we have no parking. So I feel like I want to encourage it, but I want to be safe. I'm a medical professional. I mean, I've been a part of bike safety events where we give away free helmets. It's super important that these people who are doing it safely. And I did see a gentleman going 45 miles an hour on an e-bike down University in Rochester Hills. And I actually had to look it up. I'm like, is this legal? And it is. So that's terrifying to me. No helmet, no whatever. And it was legal. And I thought, gosh, if our kids are taking their scooters, you know, in traffic because we haven't given them safe alternatives before we set this ordinance in place, oh my goodness. I think we have to do that first. I think it's smart. I just think in maybe in a different order, get that in place, roll it out, tell them it's coming, but do that first. And I think we would set a great example to other cities that are debating this issue too. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Oops, one other. You're next.
Hi, good evening. I'm Phil Rosé, 918 Loggers Circle in Rochester. I do support the ordinance. I do like option 2 from University South. Prefer also to name watch it. It's like I say, it's more than just bikes and e-bikes. It's personal mobility items and that. So, quick comment there. But I think it's just a first step, as you mentioned, Debbie, and that we do have a number of mobility devices throughout and all our sidewalks and that are, I think the technology is outpacing even the state rules because a moped and an e-motorcycle and a class 3, what I see being ridden around, it's kind of in between that kind of stuff there and it's being ridden by young people. So I think we need to be on top of that. And just one final note, since Sarah started this whole thing here, I just got back from Italy. I love those blind, when I make sure I wasn't going to be a fly on a bus's windshield, I could see that mirror coming around. So I'm one that I would look at it at least if it was there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, come on up.
Hi, my name is Delia Capo, and I live on 714 North Main Street. I do support the ordinance. I would like to see the safety zone expanded farther north to Parkdale Romeo for a couple reasons. One, it's not just congested on Main Street right in the little the downtown portion. I can't tell you because I'm on Main Street, so I see the bikes, I see the e-bikes all day, every day, and I can't tell you how many times I've walked out the front door and almost get run over by bikes coming from north and almost run you over. And not to mention the families that are walking to the Dairy Queen, that people are coming down. It's not, it's a bigger to me, it's a bigger safety zone than just the few blocks that we're talking about. So that's big. I mean, I also think that as much as I can appreciate people having bikes and having just being able to walk your bike downtown, there's just not enough room for everybody to be doing what we're currently doing and just all trying to be at the same place at the same time. But I do like the ordinance, and I would appreciate just having expanding that safety zone a little bit. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Michael Kasuth. I live at 360 Willow Grove Lane, Rochester Hills, just on the other side of McGregor. I had a whole thing written, but people have spoken far more eloquently than I can. What I think I'm just hearing people say is we need complete streets. This is something that is included in the current master plan. I'm one of those guys who reads the master plan. And there's also a plan for a connector down Walnut, turning that into a bike lane. If we pass this ordinance tonight, can we also pass something tonight to say we're 100% putting our money behind that? That is going to be open by next summer. You know, just what people want are more options. And when I think about my choice for living in Rochester, the biggest thing that I come here for is the trails. That is why I chose to move here. And what better way to accent our connection to the trails than having a proper bike lane network for our entire city to enjoy. I also know that you all are not just thinking about Rochester in 2026, but in 2036 and 2046. If we wait to do this stuff, we're going to be left behind. There's other cities that are doing this. Detroit is undergoing a massive project with the Joe Louis Greenway right now. We could be on the forefront of this. You know, we already make headlines on the best place to live. We could make headlines on the best place to live in a decade. So that's all I want to say. Thank you. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Megan, anybody at home? Megan? Well, we'll go on and then we'll scoop back with Megan. Do you want to just go, everyone probably has a comment, I assume? Do you want to just start? We can start at Mayor Pro Tem and go down, whatever you guys think. We're going to start at Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah.
You're on. I know,
There we
and
go.
it might just be you support the ordinance, but we
Yeah,
want to hear
so-
from everybody.
I mean, a lot of these ideas about, safe places to ride your bike and stuff, I think are great. I think it's something we should look into. I ride
You're a
my
biker,
bike. Now, I
yeah.
have to say I ride on the trails, so I don't ride my bike downtown. So I think this is all good. I think all this education is good, and, the police chief had put a lot of time into that, and I appreciate it. The way I look at this, though, is that what we're talking about tonight is you just got to walk your bike in the little downtown. It's not that complicated. It's not that tricky. It's polite. It's being considerate. Obviously, people choose not to be considerate, and so we need an ordinance. And so you can't ride your bike, your e-bike, right in the little downtown. That's all we're saying, and to me, it seems reasonable to do that. And that's, so this little part of it, I don't think it's that complicated or that difficult. Having bike lanes in the city, and, that's a lot bigger issue. And I think we're all for that. So that's, something we need to study and stuff. But again, I think, as the mayor said, this one small step seems pretty basic to me. So I will support this. Thank you.
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, I do want to state this clearly. I do support this ordinance. However, I also want to say that this isn't a new idea. They do it in Royal Oak and Grand Rapids and other Michigan cities. They already require people to walk.
No.
their bikes and e-bikes. This is really important through core business districts for exactly the reasons that Chief Rohib laid out. Narrow sidewalks, outdoor dining, the benches, the near collision complaints, the congestion. I mean, that's all there, right? But my focus is also getting the boundary right. And I think I'd like, I don't think, I'd like the zone to run from the north end of the bridge where you enter downtown to the south to University Drive. That is where the congestion is real. And I want us to be as bike-friendly as possible as we can be while being safe, which means not extending restrictions further than the problem actually requires. And I do understand there are bad actors that are, riding these mobile e-bikes fast as well as just regular bikes. But I don't want to be viewed as a bike-unfriendly town, and this matters a lot, and I do truly hear the people who've come up and said, we don't want to encourage more cars. Here, people are trying to do the right thing, and they want to ride their e-bikes or their bikes, and they don't want to drive cars, which causes more congestion. So I think that if we're going to encourage people to walk their bikes now, or tell them as ordinance, not just encourage, we need to have an alternative, and I want to see an alternative that matters as much as a boundary. Once we start asking people to walk their wheels on Main Street, more of them are going to use the alley as their route through downtown instead, or Water or Walnut. If you're gonna make that shift, we need to make that alley itself safe. We need to striping and clear signage, not just an informal workaround, do the best you can. I don't think it's fair to redirect cyclists somewhere and then leave that route unmarked.
Thank you. Councilmember Hauser.
I don't know if I could say it any more eloquently.
Yeah.
Marilyn, and I'm being very serious, and I mean that because I've had a lot of outreach with the community. I sent a blast email, I put something on Nextdoor, and the feedback was probably just under when we had no pot on Main Street. So the issues that we've got, when you think about, and I'm being very serious here, like, this is obviously a hot topic, and I think this ordinance strikes a balance between what we're trying to do, and that's protect and make sure that people don't get hurt while walking downtown with their families, with their children, with their pets, and similarly allows and advocates and promotes people riding their bikes, whether they're traditionally self-propelled or electric, and Rochester's 3.8 square miles. In that, we have 27 miles of roads. We've got trails that go 9 miles up to Lake Orion, and they go dozens of miles east or west to Commerce, maybe up to Romeo, and further beyond that. And so we're asking people to hop off their bike for less than half a mile. And I support also this idea of the starting point being at the north point of that bridge when you come into town to University. I think that downtown corridor makes the most sense to start with. And I appreciate the comments about expanding it north. And initially, I was in favor of up to the Dairy Queen. But I think it's probably better to start a little bit slower and pace ourselves to make sure that we're doing it right. And as Councilperson Trent said, I'm all in favor of making sure that we educate and let residents and bicyclists know that there's alternate routes. When Main Street was closed, we utilized those alleys. They were an integral part to north and south traffic. I don't see why we can't make those much more visible and user-friendly for bicyclists. The comments about the bike lanes, the dedicated bike lanes on Main Street, and listen, if there's a way to do it, if there's a presentable plan, if that makes sense somehow, and we can get MDOT to buy in, and it works with everyone, the DDA and our city, of course, I would absolutely listen to that. But for right now, candidly, that's not the issue before us. The issue is what do we do to at least address this issue that we've all been receiving complaints about, and they're legitimate. So I'm in favor of this, and just for the record's clear, I would ask that my vote would be for the ordinance to start, or the downtown district to be from right at the point of the bridge, I guess, First Street right there, up to University.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Salvian.
Well, they get more eloquent. I hope I can beat that. I don't know. I guess I'm a little more focused and to the point. So I do support this. This is really important. I view this from a standpoint of not just bikes, but wheels. Walk your wheels. We've got all these wheel devices, and we love our wheel devices. We love our trails. We love our skate park that's going to be opening. We love our wheels. It keeps people moving and happy, but we want it to be done safely. Safety is so important. So I support this ordinance. I can compromise from the bridge to University. The two sticking points that I see in my mind is where people gather on the sidewalks, La Puma's and the Dairy Queen. I'm hoping if we again end up agreeing to stop at University, it'll create maybe a culture of people then just continue to walk them. But if you're coming down and you're going down the hill, you're going to want to ride down. And again, those are congested. So again, I can compromise and stop at University. We could always expand it, but those are my 2 points that I just think about there. I do definitely support alternate pathways. We want people to come to town, take the trails, take Walnut, take Water, take the alleys, and whatever we need to do to address it, to make that clear visually. Chief, maybe it needs to go into your 4-phase action plan. Thank you so much for putting so much work into that action plan. It was excellent, very detailed. You covered a lot. I really think it's important to involve the DDA as well as the PSD in the rollout on this because they know the downtown so well. And then lastly, I'll say that I am concerned. I hear from the moms the concerns on the other issues that we want to get to. Simply reckless people, specifically not wearing helmets, underage people not wearing helmets on these vehicles. That is definitely a concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember King.
I mean, a lot's been said. I'm supportive of it. Just to be clear, I think people are saying in terms of the north end of the bridge, they're talking about at Mill Street to University. Is that the bridge? Or are we talking
that's
the bridge at
just
La
Mill
Puma's?
Street is below.
South Bridge.
No,
South
it's the
Bridge.
south
Okay,
side.
sorry,
Yeah.
South, yes. So from there to University, fully supportive. I think this is great. I'm a big biker. I've been guilty before going to the farmer's market with the kids, wanting to take the shortest route possible. The trails are a much better place to be on your bikes. I think there's a lot of ways to get through downtown. I've taken Wilcox, I've gone down the alley. I think if we can make those a little bit more bike-friendly and promote them more, I would love to see that. So I think that's definitely something that we should work on. And then I do want to address the mirror again. I think it was a little dismissive to say that it's for safety reasons. We put one of those mirrors up at Pine Street between Griggs and Drace for cars. If it works there, I don't see why it can't work on the trail. We had a girl in our neighborhood that was hit on her scooter there. It's almost a 90-degree turn on the trail there. I would love if others on council were supportive, if we can work with the city, if we can work with Friends of the Clinton River Trail on that.
You can make a motion.
Feel like this is the time to talk about it?
I see no reason why not, so.
Make an amendment.
No, I think that's more of a head nod if people are.
Right.
Make
Sure.
a motion.
We can look at
Make
it.
a motion.
Yeah.
I will make a motion that we add a mirror, potentially 2 mirrors, coming around that corner on the bridge. By Elizabeth on the Clinton River Trail.
I mean, the only thing I have to say with you, with giving it approval, I think we need to have the city's input on doing it, as well as the trail. I don't think we can motion on doing it without having the other data.
No, you can't. She can make a motion.
I'll support that motion.
Well, I think you're putting us out there saying, as a city, we're going to put a mirror there. That's what we're motioning right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Without any input from.
Without any input from the city or from the trail.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have the right to do that.
I don't, to me, it's a very simple thing. We put one on Pine Street at an alley for cars and for bicyclists and walkers. What's the difference of having one for bicycles on a trail?
I don't disagree, I'm just saying, let us go through the proper procedure, liability-wise, things like, those are two different circumstances. So I'm not saying no, if it's a great idea, it's a great idea. We would just like to get direction to look into it, and we'll do it quickly.
Yes,
Okay.
to direct the city.
Absolutely. That's fine. Beautiful.
Okay.
We're on tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying don't go with any procedure and doing what we need to do, but yes.
as an amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
Got a motion and support?
We have an open motion now.
Yeah.
So
So do we
what-
want to
what-
discuss it, or do we
Are you
want
going
to?
to end it?
We can't just have an open motion. You
I
motioned
supported
and you
it.
seconded
She
it.
supported
So
it.
what are we, what are
Well,
we
that was
motioning?
just for the mayor,
Right.
but, because I was going to let her make comments too about.
Well, the mayor can't go on to this ordinance. The mayor, you
No,
brought up
that
as
was
a separate thing.
That was a
Okay, so
separate.
we
Yeah.
won't finish it?
I think there's support, so maybe the discussion component, for, we're kind of
Right.
bifurcating it out just a little bit, so.
So so you're, just restate the motion, because I'm a little confused by this.
I was just making a motion to direct the city administration and potentially to work with the Friends of the Clinton River Trail on security features for that portion of the trail, i.e. a mirror or two.
That I can agree with.
Yes.
That's stated a little differently, so yes, we can take a roll call on that.
Yes. Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, back to the,
Sorry
back
to
to
derail.
bikes on Main Street, which is
The
what we're
hijack.
talking about. Councilmember Clauser, you are up.
I think I know why I went last.
Back clean up. Come on, girl.
Comments so at first I just want to say thank you to everyone, especially all the comments that came up tonight. I want to say you guys did
I
a
agree.
great job. They were extremely elegant. I feel like I tried to make a lot of the points you did last time we went over this ordinance, and I don't think it stuck. So I just thank you for all of your comments and feedback. And I'm kidding because I am going last because I do have a lot of thoughts on this. I feel really strongly, like a lot of you that came up here, about mobility and transportation in our city. So I want to, first by saying, I think we're all coming from a genuine place of wanting to improve downtown, right, and the safety of downtown. So I want to start with that. Because I also want to say that the comments that I'm making, the questions I'm going to raise, the proposal I want to put before my colleagues has nothing to do with, the safety matter, the congestion. I completely agree with all of that downtown. It's definitely an issue. We definitely need to take action right away, and we need to do something about it. But a couple of things. My comments and questions are more about process and the broader implications that a rule like this is going to put on the city. I believe, as I said before, this is a really important policy decision. We don't want the message to be that we don't support these different ways of travel and mobility, and I think how people get around our city, the connectivity. I feel like it's almost counter to some of the other messaging we have with skate parks and the trails and all of these things. And so I just want to make sure we're being very thoughtful in how we approach this. And so with that, a couple of clarifications too that I think is really important because we heard a lot tonight is we aren't voting on Walk Your Wheels, an educational campaign, right? A lot of the things that the chief put in here, which I think is great, we can do without what we're doing tonight. What we are voting on tonight is a new ordinance that goes into our municipal ordinance and becomes law, which means enforceable by law. Meaning, once we say yes tonight and vote on it, it is actionable, right? It says in the ordinance, which I think we should talk about that if it does pass, is the timing and putting some of this flexibility in there. But that's what we're voting on tonight. We're voting on a new law, enforceable, right, that says every resident, every visitor has to comply or they can get a citation or they can have up to their devices impounded. That's what's in here. So that's what we're voting on. We're not voting on a walk your wheels, friendly social media post. We can do that tomorrow. Right? Some of this other stuff, engaging the DDA, like I look at some of the stuff that the chief put into, which again, I think are great, the foundation phase and the education and infrastructure phase, to me, those are pre-ordinance, right? We should be developing those things before we go and tell people what they can and cannot do in downtown. If we're gonna tell them, hey, you can't ride your bikes on the sidewalks, where can they go? Where do we want them to go? Where are we directing them? If it's the alleys, which I think is a great idea, Are they marked? Do people know they can go in the alleys? I don't. There's nothing on the sidewalk there. If it's gonna be Walnut, if it's wherever we want them to go, we gotta give them alternatives and options. That's how you make these things inclusive and not exclusive, right? Like, no, you can't come here. It's, we don't want you to go here, but we do want you in our city. We do want you shopping downtown, and here's where you should go to get there, right? So I think that's infrastructure, right? Signage is infrastructure. All that stuff we gotta vote on. We talked about a signage proposal, for example. That's not in front of us tonight. I'm not voting on signage, right? I don't know where the signs are gonna be. I don't know how we're gonna communicate it. That's not part of this. This phase that we got to from the chief of police, I didn't see until tonight. So even like the implementation plan for this, I think it's great, but I would love to look at it further. When it says stuff like, you know, go to the HOAs, go to the DDA, this is where the other thing I was going to. The PSD, to me, another thing that's really important is community engagement and partnership. And I raised this at the last meeting, and I'm happy to see that they're in here, but this isn't partnership to me. This isn't community engagement. This is communicating what we've decided after we've decided it, right? Partnership to me is engaging these areas and these people and these stakeholders beforehand, getting their feedback and reflecting that feedback in the policy decisions we're making for our community. And that's not what's happening. We haven't engaged those stakeholders. We could go to the Clinton River Trail. We could go to the bike shops. We can go to all these places and get actual feedback. What are we missing? How is this going to impact your business? So those are, that gets back to process. Like I wish there was, and I know that's not typical of us. I know it's not what we typically do, but there are better ways to engage our community, right? I know we have social media. I know we have handfuls of contacts, and those are absolutely the right thing to do. We should be communicating with our constituents when we can, but we also have to figure out a way to have public forums that are inclusive of all community members, not just the people we know, but how does anybody have a way to get their voice heard that's reflected in the decisions before, again, we make them. So we got to come up with a better way, in my opinion. I mentioned a public hearing last time. It wasn't acted on. And maybe public hearing's not the right thing to say. I know we talked about how you only have to do a public hearing and this. I'm not talking about like legally what do we have to do. I get that. I'm saying like how do we just better engage our community members and stakeholders? And that's what I was hoping we would do before this. So all that to say, because I have way more I could say, which I talked about. I'm for safety. I think this, the one thing too, I will say is the problem we're trying to solve, we don't have any data, we don't have a problem statement, because I hear lots of problems we're trying to address with this one law. Like the congestion on the sidewalks, I think someone raised a really good point. If the problem's congestion, then we should be talking about what else can we do? What do we do about the signs? What do we do about the tables? What do we do about the trash cans? What do we do about the, so if we're solving that, this isn't gonna solve that, right? This is gonna do one thing. If we're trying to address bad behavior, which is another thing that I heard, is it's just people that are going too fast or not yielding to pedestrians. This isn't just for bad behavior. This is requiring all residents to do this, right? Or you get a fine. So and I hear, like, oh, this is a small thing, a little thing. And in some ways I agree with that. I do think it's etiquette to walk your side, like bike downtown. But I also think when you're golfing, it's etiquette to not yell and scream when someone's swinging. But I don't want them to put it in law. Like, I don't want a fine for that. So I think there's just a balance, and I'm being a little dramatic there, but there's a balance, right, that we got to take. And I just think, again, good policy, thoughtful policy combines all those components. And this stuff that we're talking about, the signage, the infrastructure, the alternative bike paths, all of that, that stuff we should figure out before we go and tell people they can't do stuff or we're going to give them tickets and fines, is my opinion. So my proposal to council and to everyone would be that I think we move forward tonight with the Walk Your Wheels public education component of this. Many of the things, like I said, in here, and we could go line by line, we can do tomorrow. We don't have to vote on this law. But I would recommend that we move this to a committee, whether that's a transportation committee, a mobility committee, something like that, where we can fully flesh out all of this and get stakeholder engagement. I think about some of the other things that we form committees for, the CAT committee, the blight committee. Like, this is a huge public policy thing that cities are tackling across the state. This is not a Rochester issue. And for us to not put that much significance behind it and take our time in really developing this and the broader implications, I think is just a mistake. So I won't support passing this tonight until some of this other stuff gets addressed and we figure it out. And I have lots of questions if it is gonna pass, if I'm on a lone island, which is fine. I have tons of questions then about just generally, like practically, how this is gonna work in practice, because there's a lot of, I think, missing components too about how it's actually gonna work practically. So I'll pause there. I guess my feedback or my question for my peers is if you guys would also be supportive of a committee, because I would love to, like I said, I think there's so much more to talk about here around transportation in our city.
I love a lot of what you said, but I think it's a very easy safety thing that we can take an action tonight by giving the chief this ordinance so he can start on enforcement. But I do think we have a broader bike, transportation, mobility discussion that we need to have, especially around the trails, around the park, because it's not isolated to just downtown. I do think we need better communication, better direction to using the alleys, using side streets. So I do think we certainly have work to do there. So I love the idea of having some further discussion, whether it's a committee. We have a lot of committees. We're starting a wellness committee. We're starting
We have some open
sustainability.
spots right now
I
in
don't know
committees.
that
We don't have any.
I don't know that we have resources for that, but like, I think we can work with administration, with the chief, we can come up with some ideas around better addressing some of those concerns that you have. And then we obviously have a bigger, issue to tackle. How do we want to think about this across the city? But I don't think we should delay making this decision for such a limited area of the downtown. I've had a lot of residents reach out. I do appreciate all the feedback, we had tonight. I don't know that there's been anybody that has said,
no,
I want to ride my bike on that little section of downtown, that it's really going to be impactful to them. So I'd like to move forward, my personal point of view. But I do think you raised some
You're supportive of a committee,
very,
but want to move forward tonight.
I just don't know that we have resources for a committee. But yeah,
Maybe we should get rid of a couple other committees.
Okay.
yeah, I think further discussion though.
I agree. So it's my turn now, I get to talk. So I feel strongly about passing the ordinance. I was walking my dog, and my son was walking with me on Saturday, and I passed many bikers, and I passed a family. It was a big family, and they were walking their bikes. And I said to her, "Thank you for walking your bikes." And she said, "Of course we would walk our bikes." Now, if everybody had that idea, we wouldn't have an issue like this, because I also passed numerous people going too fast. I don't think it's too much to ask. It's just 3 blocks. I do agree with everything you're saying about community outreach and letting people know, but we did let them know this was on the agenda tonight, and that's why all these people were here. And I know numerous council members, including myself, have reached out to residents to get their opinion. And to what you just said, Councilmember King, or whoever just said this, I didn't have one person that did not support it. What I don't support is reaching farther out right now. I feel like it's extremely important that we are just doing downtown to be safer. I do agree with the issues we have downtown. I couldn't talk enough about the fact that we have too much on our sidewalks. And even with having people walk, I really think we have to address our sidewalks and how we have more room. When you look at a picture like that and you can barely get around the restaurant outdoor with your dog or your stroller, there's something we have to do. It's a big nut to crack, I guess that's what they say, to put a bike lane in. I mean, we have to really spend time on that. And I know it was talked about before on Walnut. I think that maybe there's some data already out there that they did, and I think it's absolutely something we have to address. We are taking away their right to ride downtown. We need to offer another option for them. So with that said, I would support the ordinance as presented. Now, we have to decide.
Motion.
We have to decide on the boundaries. Thank you,
Right.
Councilmember Hauser. And it has been proposed bridge to bridge. It's been proposed bridge to university. So whoever makes the motion, I guess they would motion with what the boundaries are. Okay. Councilmember Trent.
I would move to amend section 52-233 by defining the downtown area at the beginning of the north side of that bridge near First Street and extending it south to the intersection of Main Street and University Drive.
Extending it north.
Huh.
North. Extending it north.
North, yes. So, yes, and Main Street to University.
Correct.
Yeah, Main Street and University Drive.
Is there support? Support from
Support from
Hauser.
me.
Motion by Trent, support by Hauser.
That's right.
Do we need to restate that, or did you get it, the motion?
Do you think
Okay.
you got it? You want me to restate it?
Yes.
Are we just, what are we, we're voting on just the amendment? Is that what you just?
We're voting on
Without-
the, she's amending
I'm
the
voting it to
ordinance.
approve the ordinance, but I move to amend section 52-233, or,
So we're voting for the whole thing right now and the amendment. Okay, I have a couple other amendments then.
so, but I mean, that's when discussion,
That's her motion.
that's my motion.
Yep.
The ordinance with the amendment adjustment. Okay. Yes, Councilmember Clauser.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts then, if this is going forward, on language. The first one being, let me pull up my notes here. So we have, like I said, in the packet we received tonight and others, stuff about, and comments were made about education first, but there's nothing in our ordinance that says that. So as soon as we vote on this, according to the ordinance, tomorrow they can start writing civil infractions. So I would like to put something more permanent into the ordinance that says citations will be delayed until the required signage is up, public education has occurred, the map has been approved and posted, alternative routes, bicycle parking's in place, because I don't think we have maps for any of that stuff, and I don't know where people would get that information. So I think we shouldn't fine people until we've got all that in place.
And I know it's just his proposal, it's not in the ordinance, but he's doing no citations for 90 days until, in what he presented. I mean, I don't know about writing it in the ordinance that way, but I don't know, Chief, if you
So how
want to
do
come
we-
back up or
then-
not.
then
Maybe
I just
not.
have-
Maybe you don't want to come back up.
Then I have questions then of like, how will residents know when we are giving warnings and when we're finally giving? Like, after 90 days past the day we vote on it, it becomes,
So once this is approved, that's when we start the education process. That's when we start we put blasts out to everybody. You know, and here's the thing, our intention is not to write tickets. I don't want to write tickets. I don't want to be that police officer that gives someone a ticket for riding their bike. I mean, we have better things to do. Again, this is about education. If we see someone on a bike, even after 90 days, our goal is not to write them a ticket. Hey, please, can you walk your bike? This is a safety-free zone. Now, again, obviously, if you're a repeat offender and you don't want to listen, or you're driving in a reckless manner, then yeah, you deserve a ticket. But our goal is not to write tickets. We don't want to write tickets. We want this to be user-friendly ordinance, you know. And again, if this is approved tonight, it has to be published, correct, Jeff? 10, 15, what is it, 10 days?
It will be effective
place.
upon publication, which typically takes a couple weeks before it can get into the newspaper.
Right. But our goal, I am certainly not going to go to our police officers and say, hey, this is approved, so get your ticket books ready. It's not going to happen. This is going to take some time. And again, we have to get the word out. And once you say yes, the word's going out the next day. We're going to start drafting, I'm going to meet with the DPW, we're going to look at the alleys, because there are a lot of alternative routes. You do have the alley, you have Walnut, you have Pine, you know, you have Water Street, there's plenty of options, but that's going to be part of the education process. But our goal is not to write, we don't want to write tickets, unless we absolutely have to, and we're talking 3 months down the road. Let's get this approved tonight. Let's get the voices out. Let's get with all these organizations that will help us promote this. And you'll see how fast, trust me when I say this, the word will travel very fast, because they already know it's coming, a lot of people. They know, but we're gonna do this right. We're gonna take our time. And again, the last resort is the ticket. It is. I'm not even thinking about the ticket.
so I appreciate you saying that.
Do you have more?
I did, I was following up on my question. So I do, I appreciate what you're saying. What I'm getting at is, you're asking me though to vote on enforcement actions, right? That's the purpose of the law that I'm voting on, is so that you have a tool in your pocket to get people to comply.
Sure.
But you're saying it's mostly educational, you don't want to write tickets, so I'm just getting mixed signals and making it hard, again, to like support. I'm wondering if then we just put an amendment in that says delay citations until 90-day education plan or whatever lines in here, because I also feel like, doesn't this set us up for some kind of litigation if it's like, well, it's whenever we want to start enforcing it, and like, don't we have to have a little bit more concrete, like, we have discretion to?
City attorney, I
Who-
think will
There-
respond.
Okay.
The ordinance will become effective when it becomes effective. The chief has told you how he's going to start enforcement. There's, with any, we pass dozens and dozens of ordinances, and it's the same thing, right? Is when does it start? We do a disorderly person ordinance. We don't do, public blasts or to let people know it's going to start on this date or this date. It's a discretionary thing that the chief has told you how he's going to roll it out. From a logistics standpoint, if someone wants to add in a delayed language saying that tickets, citations won't be delayed, then it would be up to the maker of the motion to agree to that. It's not a separate motion. I mean, you could say, I would like it to say this, but the maker of the motion wouldn't need to do that. You've heard how it's going to be enforced. You heard what he's going to do before tickets would even be issued. So I'm comfortable with that process, but it's up to city council.
Hold on for one, I just want to interject one thing. We have a skateboard ordinance right now, which I bet nobody knew we had a skateboard ordinance. And I bet they've never written a ticket, but on the skateboard ordinance, which I printed out and brought with me, there are the boundaries, very confusing boundaries, by the way. Obviously, whatever year this was written, they thought they had a problem with skateboarders downtown. So I just feel like this was a good guide, that they needed to do that for skateboarders, and I don't think that one ticket's ever been written for a skateboarder. And now, starting tomorrow, at 5:30, they have a place to skateboard, so we don't have to worry about them downtown anymore.
That's right.
Mayor Pro Tem had his finger up for a minute, then next is Councilman Trent.
I don't want you writing tickets. I want all the education like we talked about, but when we pass this ordinance, I expect the police department to enforce it. And so I'm getting kind of mixed motions. And it's like, yeah, we don't want to be heavy-handed, we don't want to do that, but at the same time, I want you to stop that. That's why we're doing this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Trent.
Well, so I do agree a lot with what Councilmember Clouser had said and brought up. But so if I'm looking at this, and this was why you proposed it and made it very clear, and thank you so much, that I don't know if we have to have in the ordinance that you need to follow your 120-day phased rollout, because you're going to wait 30 days before you write the first ticket. And then there's education and infrastructure, which that was one of my issues, was to make sure that in your education, you're telling people, you go to the alley or you go to Walnut Street, this is how you get around. Where is that signage going to go? And I'm assuming that's what you're going to be working on. Do we stripe the alleys, which I want to stripe and sign the downtown, stripe and sign the downtown alley as a marked bike route in anticipation of increased cyclists? How do we go from there? Do you have to come to us? Or are you working with
DDA.
DDA too?
Remember, we had the.
Yeah, I do
But
remember.
that's also a loading zone. That might not be the best place. They could just ride in the alley. It's an alley. So, but
I
we would-
understand, but
we would
I'm
work that
asking
out.
something specifically, so is this kind of going to be blown over to like, okay, you approved it and now it's out of our hands as to how is the signage, how are the cyclists going to get around? I mean, that is very important to me, that we're moving them off for sure. I mean, that is, even I made the motion, I am now getting concerned about where are we going with this, is like, that was nice, Marilyn, but we're not going to do any of it.
Well, that's part of the education process. If we have brochures, we will put alternative routes. If you're traveling from the north, if you're traveling from the south, you can also use these streets or the alley.
But it's more than a brochure. It's signed when they come down. It's like striping the alley like it was. There is an alley striping, or those type of things are what I'm, and then these people have come forward, and it's not just these people. People are asking, how do you get around in Rochester on bicycles? Are we really encouraging people to drive your car?
And from University, honestly, from University to the bridge, again, that's not that far of a
No,
distance.
I understand.
I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, it just makes absolute sense to walk your bike.
Do I need to amend it to
I
say?
mean, I don't know, I gave you everything I could
understand.
give you. I can't, you just can't, who's on first, you know what I mean? It
I
just-
get it, I get it.
not give us
But
any
you do
more
understand what it means to me.
We will do our absolute
And others
best to
maybe. Maybe it
get
doesn't.
all the information out to the public that we can. It's not gonna be perfect, because nothing's perfect, but what I can promise you, we will do our absolute best to get all the questions out. I can make a brochure with a bunch of questions on there, whatever you wanna do.
I don't
But-
know, I'm
We
not-
got people lining up to talk
I'm
here.
I mean, there's
asking,
many laws, I
I'm asking
mean-
more for than for
Yeah,
a
it's just,
brochure.
I get it, but like our city attorney, we pass ordinances all the time. And it's just, we're going well above and beyond for this one, because I want to make this, because again, I respect people that ride bikes and electronic devices, I do. But, hey, can you, out of courtesy, can you please get off and walk it 3 blocks? And I think most of them will. You will see probably 70% of the people complying with this. That's what I'm gonna bet on, because people are gonna get used to it. But again, that's why we're gonna get into the schools. Who's riding the e-bikes? People in the schools, the younger kids. We go to the OPC, they ride bikes, older people ride bikes, it's just,
I've been-
skateboards, we have to focus on the certain groups, it's just,
There's
but
more, okay.
you have to at least have some faith in our department. And we're gonna be working with the DDA, the PSD, the DPW. Let us get this education part, but we can't do anything yet until you say yes.
We already posted.
Councilmember Hauser.
Okay, couple things.
Patiently waiting.
And I'll go quick. I'm not in favor of amending the ordinance to address timelines or anything like that, and here's why. We've got the chief of police coming before us in public, on the record, telling us what he is instructing his officers to do and how to handle this. I have a sense that if he's telling us something different than what's actually going to happen, we're going to find out pretty quickly. And we'll probably ask you to come back and say, hey, chief, on July 13th, you told us no tickets were going to be issued. You were going to phase this in and you were going to do this 120-day rollout. What's going on? That's not what happened, okay? So I'm not very concerned that's what's going to happen. And also, maybe what we do is if we have some concerns, maybe you come back every 30 days and tell us what you've been doing and tell us what you've been doing, to educate and what the plan is. So you can tell us and the public as to, hey, I got 120 days. Every 30 days you come in and say, hey, here's what I did the past 30 days. Here's what I'm going to do the next 30 days. Maybe that's the solution to address some of these concerns.
No problem doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember King.
I was just going to say, this is 3 blocks. We're just asking people to walk. I think we're overthinking it. To Christian's point, the chief is here. He has a plan. Administration is very capable of signage. If we have an issue with it, I think they'll listen to our concerns if we want to see changes. I think we got to let them do their jobs, right? Our job is policy. Theirs is implementation and rollout. So it's not like a citywide, massive, I'm good. I'd like to vote.
I think we gotta Councilmember Clausen.
So I hear what everyone's saying. I think, so I'll just be candid. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old that ride bikes, and they are in that stage where I think a lot of parents might agree that they're trying to figure out, we're all trying to figure out how much independence to give them, right? We live right next to university. They're constantly asking to go to BP, to LeJuice, to Knapp's Donuts in the morning, to Saunders, right? So very hits me, right? So if Russell, 8 years old, right, gets on his bike and he goes, and I tell him as much as I can, you gotta walk when you get to the crosswalk, right? But he goes across the street and goes to Saunders. Can you walk me through what happens? Does a police officer pull him over and say, we want you to ride your bike? Where do they direct him? In the road? I hope not. Or are they gonna give him a citation? Do they ask for identification? Most of these kids don't carry identification. Do they ask for a parent? Do I get notified? I just don't get in practice how we enforce this. And the majority that we hear are bad behaviors, at least this is what we were told last time, it is young kids. So those are the people I'm most worried about. They don't carry identification and stuff, so I don't know how I just don't know how you enforce this. And then, again, we're voting on the law tonight, so if we can't enforce it and we don't want to enforce it, why are we doing it?
Well, there's always time for enforcement. But the goal is, again, it's education. I'm certainly not going to have our police officers go up to an 8-year-old and pat him down and grab his bike.
I would hope
mean,
not, yeah.
Again, I'm not going to be that police chief, and I'm not going to have our department be like that. We have an outstanding reputation. We have professional officers here, and this is all about using good discretion, and that comes with the training of the officers. If they see a young child, 7, 8 years old, riding a bike, hey, how you doing? I'm Officer so-and-so from Rochester. Just to let you know, this is a safety zone, you have to walk your bike. Asking for ID and calling mom and dad, you're talking an hour up the street. And then if we give an 8-year-old a ticket or a 9 or a 10-year-old ticket, good luck in getting a petition at the juvenile court, because that's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's just not gonna happen. It's just, again, it's about using good discretion, being a professional police officer, giving the child good advice, that's it. Now, if the child goes, hey, I don't know what to do, I'm confused, then maybe it's time to call mom or dad. Hey, we have your child here at the corner, this is what's going on, would you mind picking them up, or we'll drive them home, it's common sense, that's all it is. Again, I don't want to be that police department, that heavy-handed department. And again, if we have to write a ticket, we're gonna write a ticket. We're gonna write a ticket. But I'm not gonna have, we have foot patrols downtown, the DDA's paying for that. It's gonna be a great opportunity, the police officers will be downtown. We have our bike officers, they're gonna have a new role, they're gonna be downtown, up and down the sidewalks, and, instead of, they'll be in the parks too, but they're gonna spend a lot more time downtown, and they can watch for people on the bikes. And again, sir, madam, this is a safety-free zone. If you knew, here's a flyer, they're gonna have them on them, here you go, here's the rules. That's it. And if they say, hey, Mr. Officer, we're riding our bikes, we don't care what you say, then we have to go a different level. Good discretion, that's all it is.
So I have an amendment, a recommendation that I think would go to Marilyn then, since she made the motion. But I think, I'm just not as comfortable, and maybe it's me with the ambiguity that we're setting up with this rule and the kind of the like, well, it's, So I think that we could put language in there that says when the operator is a minor who cannot provide identification, reasonable effort shall be made to contact a parent or guardian before the device is impounded or a citation is given. I mean, you can do stuff in there that makes this a little bit more concrete of what our actions would be for minors.
I don't think we need that, because we have policies when we deal with minors. If a minor is committing a crime, we notify the parent or legal guardian.
Okay, I just asked that.
And this is a civil infraction. Remember, this is not a crime.
Yeah.
It's not a crime. Again, we don't need that in the ordinance. This comes, again, good discretion and department policy. Now, if the minor was using a bike and was driving in a reckless manner, taking out people, that's a misdemeanor, that's a crime. We would bring the minor into the station and contact the parents. They pick them up, and we fill out a petition for juvenile court to see if they'll authorize for reckless driving. That's how it works. We're gonna treat every juvenile the same way, not just the bikes, any crimes. We treat them all the same way. We have a policy across the board.
I don't know that there's support to change the ordinance with that.
Okay. Also, we don't have working sessions, so this is the only time I get to ask you guys about this and throw out other ideas, right? All I've seen is this one version, so I'm just throwing stuff out because I don't want people to think, again, we're all in this for the same reasons.
yeah,
I'm just,
it's good that you're- it's
practically, I have
good. It's
kids,
good
I'm wondering how
dialogue.
this
It
is gonna
is.
impact people, so that's where this is coming from. So 2 other things real quick, and I'll bundle it so we can keep it moving. There is something in here that says, I would have to go back to find the exact spot, but council basically can, by resolution, expand this. And I've heard a lot of concerns about the expansion of this, and so I wonder if we strike that language from it, so that, because to me, that would mean that we would have to go through this process again, where it's a reading and a second reading, and you'd have to do an ordinance. So if we go to the park or somewhere,
I think
other
that
areas.
meant that's where the feedback comes. Here, council, here's the report, this is what's going on. Up to University is not working. The hot spots are north of University. That's what I would bring to you with statistics in a report, and you as a council would say, you know what? We've had time to sit on this, maybe University's not the stop. Maybe we go further to Romeo. That's what that means. You have the discretion to change this ordinance, just like any ordinance that you want, but I'm gonna provide you with feedback and statistics so you know, why we wanna change. That's the main reason for that.
I was just gonna say, it does say that's only in regards to any use. It's not in regards to the ordinance itself. So it's any use otherwise specifically authorized by resolution of the city council. So
we can,
But it says additional prohibited areas may be included by resolution. So
Oh,
there's an
okay. So
area
there's another
component.
area there.
52-234 allows us to expand
Yeah.
on resolution.
so to me, that just means that if a resolution, we could vote in the same night, right? Where if it's not, and we have to go through the ordinance process, we have to do a first reading, we have to do a second reading. So again, it just gets back to process, where I think if we are going to do an expansion, I'd want it to go through a rigorous process, obviously, like the park or something. To me, this is pretty general language about just how we can expand it at the whim, and I would recommend changing
Okay, I'm
it.
going to have city attorney take it, but I thought the expansion just meant where the boundaries were. But we did talk about if we, go ahead.
Well, no, I think that's what she's referring to, because it says additional prohibited areas may be included by resolution of city council. So I think that's, Councilmember Clauser's concern is that it took this much process to get the boundaries that we are. So she's asking for that sentence to be removed because then it would require an ordinance amendment to change the boundaries.
So let's just say we do take it further. Let's just throw out there, because we're not doing that, the park. How would what would be the steps we would have to take if we were going to include another area of town?
So right now, the ordinance defines the
boundaries.
boundaries as in the downtown area statement. So if city council wanted to expand that downtown area, then it would come back and we'd go through the same process of revising the ordinance amendment. I understand where Councilmember Clauser could see that it's probably extra language that doesn't need to be in there if the idea is to have to have it come back for an ordinance amendment to change the boundary.
Okay.
So,
Because I also was thinking about if we do something in the park, let's say, where there's speed limits, and which I think is what a lot of us are concerned about, is the speed that they're riding and the reckless. That would be an addendum to this or a brand new?
it would be brand new, because this one, excuse me, only concerns the sidewalk, use of
Downtown.
wheels on sidewalks in the downtown. So if in the future, someone wanted to, if the council wanted to go through and start figuring out some regulations for the park, I would consider there's a whole separate park and trailways area that with a bunch of rules that you could add to it at that point.
We
So
could
this is
add to the park
exactly,
ordinance, is
exactly.
what we would do there.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it sounds like there might be support to remove that sentence.
Yeah.
Do we have support to remove that sentence?
I would make an amendment to remove, which where are
Section
we?
50,
We
section
might have to start over, I
52,
feel.
234, paren 1, last sentence.
Does she, I
Paren
feel like she has
one
to restate
for
the whole
last,
motion.
then-
Give it a shot here.
Okay.
I have a motion by Trent to approve as presented with amendment to section 52 to set the enforcement zone boundary to be along Main Street from First Street to University, and to remove the last sentence of section 52-234.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yep.
Support by Hauser.
And I have just one more change. Again, so the word unattended is in the impound section, and I think we should take that word out because, and clarify that it's not just an unattended bike that could be impounded. I think when it should say something like, instead of the device being impounded for abandonment, something about it being, I'm sorry, not abandonment. Yeah, abandonment, because that would be unattended. I'm sorry, that's the word, unattended. Instead of it saying unattended, it should say something about it can be impounded if it was abandoned, unlawfully parked, obstructing pedestrian access, or left in violation of posted parking restrictions, or something to that effect. I just think unattended, again, what is, like, that means wherever you put your bike, if there's not someone there, it can be impounded. So I just, cleaning up the language, I would take that word out.
City attorney look at that and say.
Where is that? I'm not finding it.
52, 238.
Page 18.
The last bullet point.
A device has been left unattended or abandoned within the Detroit area, the downtown area. That's a long bike. That's a long bike.
Device has been left unattended.
I mean,
Okay, left
I mean,
abandoned.
to me, that's a discretionary, I mean, it's going to be up to the police department to figure if that's unattended or abandoned. But
Do you have problems?
I don't have a problem with it as is, but if council wants to change it, they can suggest it.
I worked in policy, so I scrutinize this stuff. Words you use matter. That's all. I'm just recommending it, but we don't have to.
Unattended is
Yeah,
taken out.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
What was your recommendation?
I had in my notes something to the effect of a device may be impounded when it is abandoned, unlawfully parked, obstructing pedestrian access, or left in violation of posted parking restrictions. Basically, so if they leave it against a building, right, that's unlawfully parked. If they obstruct it, so they leave it in the sidewalk, then we can impound it. But if it's just not attended, I don't feel like that's a
So
reason to
we're
impound
just
it.
getting rid of that one.
What the
Yeah.
word?
The
The
word
device has been-
unattended.
Yep, yeah.
Getting rid of attended, but adopting your proposed language?
Well, I think it's the
I
same
think it's
language.
in
It's
there,
just-
sorry.
No, I like your
it's different.
language. I like your language.
Oh, thank you.
It's different, okay.
Sorry.
We'll watch the video. We'll get that language in.
If
Yep. I'll
they're
go with
making a
it.
motion, the
Yeah, I'll
seconder
make-
supports
I'm still
that.
sticking with that, plus her language.
Okay, that's what I got.
So support. So housekeeping is, just so I know, so it's going to be, the boundary's going to be from First Street to University. We're going to remove the sentence there about being
Can you hold
modified
one?
by resolution.
Hold 1 second. I mean, just for a point of clarification, this might be picking on me, but First Street, I really like the wording of the start of the bottom of the bridge.
The
First
north
Street
boundary of
means
the
it
abutment
would-
of the bridge.
yeah.
That's-
Who
Okay.
has the floor?
Yeah.
Just tell me who has the floor.
I have the floor.
Okay.
And I just
Well,
said how
okay,
I thought
well,
it should
then he has the
change.
floor, so he's going to finish.
It's okay. I know it's semantics, but at the very north point of the South Bridge, right over there by Giorgio's Pizza, wherever that is, okay?
Correct.
We'll call it whatever we
Right.
want. Their university, we're going to remove the last sentence here in 52-234. Additional prohibited areas may be included by resolution of city council. And I believe we are going to adopt the language that Councilperson Clauser said as it pertains to the abandonment and unattended, whatever that language was. I think those are the three issues, the modifications to the ordinance. Did I say that correctly?
And I think Brian has all of them.
Did you,
so.
I think
Mr. Clerk?
The clerk has all of them.
'cause I can't
For the
do that.
clarification of the last amendment was the removing of the wording of unattended.
That was the second one.
Yes, and adopting the language that.
She has a whole different paragraph.
You want me to
Yes, she'll
email
send
you?
it to you.
Read it again.
Okay. A device may be impounded when it is abandoned, unlawfully parked, obstructing pedestrian access, or left in violation of posted parking restrictions.
Get that off the tape, man. We'll fix it.
Got it.
Okay.
So Marilyn did the motion, and you supported, right?
With the amendments that we just stated on the
Okay.
record.
All right, roll call.
Jones.
Yes.
Vixen. Yes. Clauser.
No.
Hauser.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Salvia.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Mayor, if I may, just so everybody knows that we heard them. So Wayback Machine, 10 years ago, we invoked Oakland County Planning and then the Biking Association for Southeast Michigan. I remember sitting at the schoolyard, or the schoolhouse over at the museum. We had them go through for free at that time, a unilateral discussion about sharrows and what lanes and the alleys and all that good stuff. So we'll dig that out. I'm gonna get a proposal and bring it back to you, so we will look at all that. Because it seems, right now, the good news is, you can drive your bike right up to Main Street, right, literally to Main Street, and then walk it. So they can still get into town however they want. They can ride any street they want, following the law. They can ride on the sidewalk right now, just not on Main Street. So, but we will look into that. I'll bring you back a proposal. So we will look at the whole community. Unfortunately, I remember distinctly, the trainer was here, actually. I actually remember thinking, I think we have some ways to this. MDOT railed on us about until you get rid of all the parking, like the gentleman talked about, make it more for people. So it's a big study, but we'll look into that and I'll bring a proposal to you as quick as we can, because I think it's legit ask. And we would like to be known for that, so I heard that.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, reports and regular business. All right, we are on to consideration of the Metro Act permit, gateway infrastructure, and city attorney's going to take this one.
I am, thank you, Mayor. Before you, if you remember, just a couple of months ago, we had a Metro Act permit application for another entity. And I explained in my memo the history of the Metro Act and how the city's hands are mostly tied in these situations. So we have received another application for a permit, this one from Gateway Infrastructure LLC. And there is a gentleman from there, Derek is his name. He's in the audience, one of the few remaining. And so they submitted their Metro Act application and permit. And as is process, as soon as the city receives those, I go through it to make sure that it's complete and it meets the submittal requirements for, under the Metro Act. And as is often the case, there are usually a couple of minor things that I deem to be incomplete about these. And so I let the applicants know, and in fact, I did that in this case. There were some minor things that I indicated it wasn't complete, so I sent that back, and Gateway Infrastructure has now presented and addressed my concerns with that. So the information that's in there is another bilateral permit, which would be for a 15-year term, like the other ones that you see. That's the usual. So they've, in my opinion, it is complete. I've notified them that it's complete, so now it's up to City Council. According to the Metro Act, the municipality shall approve or deny within 45 days from the date of a complete permit. So tonight would be within the 45 days, so it is timely. I feel the recommendation would be, the requested action would be to City Council to approve the infrastructure telecommunications permit and authorize the city clerk and city manager to execute the permit. If and when that happens, what happens then is I'm required to send it to the MPSC for their records to let them know all these timeframes that we've met, we've complied with the Metro Act, and we submit a copy of the permit as executed to them once we get Gateway Infrastructure to countersign as well. I believe that's the summary of my memo. I did lay out all that information before. A common question is, well, what happens when they're ready to start working? Just because we sign their permit doesn't mean that they can go at their leisure, because right now they wouldn't know exactly what's in our right-of-ways. So when they're ready with their plans, their infrastructure people that are actually going to be doing the work, they still need to go to DPW and Director Schaefer to say, hey, okay, we have a permit to do this, we're ready to proceed. And they know this, they know that they have to go to DPW to get the actual right-of-way, like to make sure that they're not digging and it's not our street, for instance. We have M150, and so a lot of people don't know that that's not the city street. And there's some county streets, so we have to make sure that they obtain all the necessary approvals like this with the other jurisdictions that they encounter. And we often will have them, our engineer with there as well, and say, well, you can't go underground there because X, Y, Z, or you need to install it this way or this way. So it's not done after today. They know this. They've been doing this for a bit. And so that is the process that they know they're required to come to the city and work through those details that they wouldn't know at this point because they don't know what's in our roads yet. So at this point, like I said, the applicant has a representative here. I don't know if he wants to or if he's just here to, if you'd like to just introduce yourself. I think council would like to briefly hear, and I know some council members have some questions as well.
Sure, yeah, happy to do that. Thanks for the opportunity. Derek Leffert, Head of Government Affairs for Gateway Fiber. Unlike the first couple of presenters, I'm not going to ask you for any money. We're actually going to invest millions of dollars here in Rochester. So Gateway Fiber is headquartered, we were started in Missouri. We're based just a little bit outside of St. Louis, Missouri. We were started in a town of about 300 people, very small community, and everybody needs high-speed internet. That's no longer an option. People need it for healthcare, for education, for entertainment, for any number of things. So I don't have to sell you on what we're selling. What I will tell you is who we are as a company. I think that makes a big difference in terms of the relationships locally. Because we were started in a small community, our founder, we maintain that in our DNA. We want to make sure that we're collaborative with the communities that we're working with, that we're investing in, and we want to make sure that we're a good corporate partner for not only the citizens, but also the communities and the institutions here in Rochester. In terms of our initial plans, I think are around 26 to 2,700 households on the initial side of it. Now, as part of that collaboration, what we don't do is we don't come in and overwhelm your resources. We understand that the city has a finite amount of resources, and part of what makes us successful in our partnerships with the cities is working at the pace that the city is comfortable with, because we don't want to overwhelm your resources. We understand that you guys have a limited amount. So we'll work in collaboration with the city, with the DPW, and whoever else we need to. Our engineering team will make sure that they're working collaboratively with them to work at their pace and get them the information that they need as quickly as possible. I will say that Michigan is a new market for us. We've started building, I think our initial build started in Sterling Heights. We built in Troy. We have about 28 to 30 communities here in Michigan that we intend to invest in. So we'll be sticking probably $200+ million here in Michigan over the next 3 to 5 years as a build out. So significant investment here in Rochester specifically. I think we're looking at probably a $5 to $6 million investment, but that number will go up as we see some success. It's my understanding right now that there is not a fiber provider currently. I think you probably just have a regular cable communications provider, but I don't believe you have fiber here yet, unless it's kind of a one-off. That was part of our analysis anyway, so if that's wrong, it's wrong. But we hope to start as quickly as we can, but in terms of like pricing, I know some folks are curious about that. We are very fairly priced, and the price that we tell you is not a contract price. We don't have contracts. It's not, our pricing is $65 for 600 meg service. I think our 1 gig service is $75, and our 2 gig service is $90, and then we have a 5 gig service that's available for $125. That amount that you pay, that's all that's coming out of your account. It's not, $65 plus this tax, plus this fee, plus that. That's all that's coming out of your account, no contract. If you have an issue at your home, we're not going to charge you to come out and take a look and hit you with fees for that. So you're basically paying a monthly fee. That's all you're paying. We are very transparent with that, and believe that that's worked well for us in the past. And our service sells itself in terms of the actual work that we're doing with the cities. I would encourage you to reach out to your sister cities here in Michigan and across the United States, and I would say that they would give us kind of a glowing recommendation, because this is it's very critical for us to get in front of the communities and make sure that you guys understand who we are as a company. If you have any concerns, invariably, any infrastructure project that you endeavor to undertake, you're going to have some concerns from citizens, right? It's a disruptive process, and we're doing everything that we can to minimize that. As far as restoration is concerned, that's probably where the biggest concern it would be. Every home that we go past, or every business that we go past, is a potential customer for us. So we want to make sure that we make it as good or better than it was before. But invariably, you're going to have people that are upset about an infrastructure project. But our intent is to minimize those as much as we can. If for whatever reason you have any concerns from constituents, feel free to pass them my way, and I'll get with our team and figure out what we need to do to get it resolved, because we certainly want to make sure that we're taking care of that, and that you and the city staff are not, dealing with the brunt of the concerns there. So happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Zaldi.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for being here. One quick follow-on. You answered most of them, but noticed your map is mostly on the east side of town. I didn't see any green lines in what I would call our historic part of town. What is the why on focusing on the east side?
So I think the intent was, the intent would be to build the entire town. One of the things I will mention is we don't like to go in and overbuild another provider, another fiber provider. Now, we will overbuild where there's, cable service right now. But we don't overbuild other fiber providers. So the way that we do things is we'll come in, we'll figure out where we're gonna put our central office location. When I say central office, I don't mean a building, like I'm talking about the hub. It's basically a refrigerator-sized box that basically serves as kind of the hub or the central part of our system, and then we spider out from there. So that is, the map that you see is reflective. It probably doesn't have the CO located in the actual map, but the map that you see there is reflective of that build-out. But then the intent would be, once that portion is done, that we continue to expand into the other portions of the city as long as there's, we're permitted to do so and there's not another provider there.
Okay.
Councilmember King.
This is more for city administration. I think this is the third one that we're being asked to approve in a short period of time. I'm just curious, has anybody, and then before that, actually, there was another company I saw doing construction, a Michigan-based company. Do we have fiber? Is anybody further ahead? Like, I would think they would want to understand that.
I think the last one you approved, Metro Act, Metro Fiber Net, I think their fiber, the other one that came before you recently was a tower, a cell, small cell. So that's not a Metro Act one, that's a small cell phone. But I think the last one you approved was fiber.
Okay, and then I did see construction trucks 3 years ago from 123.net, which I know does fiber. So do we have fiber in Rochester?
Well, 123
And
Net,
is
my memory was, I didn't remember if they were fiber or not, but 123 Net was approved a handful of years ago, for sure.
So they're a little bit different than us. Yeah, they're more commercial focused, and a lot of times they're more transmission versus residential and business. I mean,
Okay.
they do a little bit of commercial business, but they're a little, it's a little different than what we are.
I just want to make sure, I know we don't really, I guess, have control, we have to approve these, right? But if we are, and we have many of them, like,
Yeah.
I would hope that we can share the information. That way we're not having companies overbuild needlessly.
I will tell you, just from my experience, and I've been with the company from almost the very beginning, as part of our analysis, if we go in and we see that there's another fiber provider, it's not a good business case for us to go in and overbuild somebody else. So if there is activity, if somebody else is building in a particular neighborhood or area, we'll divert, we'll go elsewhere so that we're not overbuilding on top of them.
We'll share what we have with them.
Okay.
For sure.
T-Fiber.
It would be
Which, yeah,
MetroNet on behalf of
that's their
T-Mobile.
customer, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Now, I will say, not to, I'm not disparaging our competition, but we can work very, very quickly. Like the way that we're set up, we have a lot of flexibility and we could throw a bunch of resources at it immediately if we needed to. But we can generally mobilize and get to things a lot quicker than some of our larger competitors.
Any other questions?
I guess I'm just curious, like, who determines who starts first and how does that work?
If I may.
Or do we not have any say?
That's their issue.
Yeah.
We won't control, I mean, that's just what he's referring to as a business decision, not to have a diluted market that he's going into. But as far as, I mean, if we had one come in next month, we'd have to process it
We'd just
the same
approve
way.
them all and-
That's right.
And they just keep building on each other?
Yeah, and I mean, we'll submit our permits to them, and then, if they tell us as part of the permitting process, hey, there's somebody already permitted here, then we'll say, okay, well, we're gonna forget about that and go somewhere else.
The Metro Act is not city-friendly.
Well, the Metrovac may not be, but Gateway is.
No, it was nothing against the applicant
I
here.
see.
And we certainly, I mean what I say, and I think you talk to the communities we built in, that they'll tell you the same thing. Like, we are very, very focused and collaborative in making sure that we're working with you guys. So if you guys have specific requirements, or there's something that you guys need from us, please don't hesitate to let us know, because we're more than happy to address those.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Sullivan.
Thank you. So I would like to make a motion to approve the Gateway Infrastructure's telecommunication permit and authorize the city clerk and city manager to execute the permit.
Motion by Councilmember Salvia, support?
Support.
Support by Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you for
very much, guys.
coming.
Thank you.
You learned a lot about our city tonight.
I did. I learned more about e-bikes than I ever wanted.
Don't you write it
You want me to
downtown?
review a
Don't you be
policy?
writing downtown. All right, next, city attorney's up for this one too. This is consideration of a resolution opposing House Bills 5529 through I don't have my glasses, 32, and 5580 through 5585 regarding local municipal zoning authority.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So at the direction of council, you've heard for a number of months that this package of House Bills 5529 to 5532 and 5581 to 5585 has been pending in the House, the House of Representatives. And you've heard our own person speak to it, and you voiced your displeasure with that, as many communities have, and as yet another perfect segue from a Metro Act situation where you lose local power. And so this package of bills is definitely one that would erode local control over a lot of the zoning regarding what can go into residential is the biggest thing, I think, for Rochester. They would have to allow duplexes and say other types of, like a mobile home. You couldn't restrict the size, the minimum size to a dwelling under a certain really low percentage or square footage. Not that there's a debate on the merits of this as much as it's an attempt to override local control. And so many communities have sent resolutions opposing this, and they would send it to the governor and/or their local legislators. Your locals do know, but I was asked to put a resolution together to formally, from a city council perspective, to do that. So I put one together. This was, I was able to find one that I thought I could use relatively quickly and address the issues that I believe are very similar to Rochester's. Really, in the whereases, and there's a lot of them, but when you go down to the now therefore, that's really what you're asking in this case is for the council is requesting to formally oppose those package of bills, to instead to collaboratively work with other governmental agencies to work on those issues that are on the underlying root of these, which are not bad concepts. It's just to Councilmember Clauser's collaboration concern before, this would, that wasn't done in this case. So, and then also to direct the transmission. I think it's fair to send it to your locals as well, to the governor, who would have the veto power if it does make its way to her desk. I think it's a pretty robust resolution. I didn't come up with every word myself, but I think it speaks from the concerns I've heard from council. And so I think that unless council believes that there's things they don't agree with in here, the requested action would be to make a motion to approve the resolution opposing Michigan House bills. And, I won't repeat them all. As mentioned. And then that would be then sent to the locals for.
Council, yes, Councilmember Clauser.
I will make a motion to, oh, I'm sorry.
Our names are very similar, I get that.
You guys have to change your
No,
name.
no, please.
Klauser, Hauser.
I just had a question. A
Yeah.
resolution, just to explain what it is and isn't, my understanding it's just kind of like a official declaration of our position on this policy, right?
It
That we're
is.
sharing. Okay.
It is.
Right.
It is not law. It's nothing.
Right.
Okay.
It's just, and if you get enough of them, I think it does move a congressperson.
Yeah.
If their cities that they represent are all saying we don't agree with this, it might make a difference in how they vote.
Yep.
Is what my thought is. Councilmember Hauser.
Certainly. Okay, thank you. I would make a motion to sign or have the city clerk sign these resolutions. I can tell you on behalf of the planning commission, this has also been a
Yes.
concern of ours too.
Yes.
And I think some of us maybe individually have also sent similar emails based on what we received from Michigan, the
MML.
Municipal League, yes.
Yeah.
So, again, long-winded motion to sign the resolution.
Motion by Hauser,
I'll support.
support by Trent. Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Bixon,
Yes.
Klauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay. Next, thank you.
Mayor?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, we didn't have any discussion on that, and I just briefly wanted to comment that I think
Sure,
it's also important, because council has deliberated on this, that there are things that we do support regarding housing. And so I think council supports some of the other, specifically MI Home Program, which is out there. So I like to not only say what we don't like, but what we do support, so.
I appreciate you adding that, and I appreciate you sort of starting this whole process, so thank you. Councilmember Salvia. Okay, consideration to approve the appointment of election workers. This is city clerk.
Yep, so every year, the Election Commission approves the list of those working for the election. So this is our list, and it's probably about 95% of returning workers, with a couple new people sprinkled in.
So we just basically need a motion
So
to
moved.
support, okay. A motion by Mayor Pro Tem to approve the appointment of the election workers, and it was supported by Councilmember Trent. Roll call, please.
Jones,
Yes.
Bixon,
Yes.
Klauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay, next, consideration to authorize the pre-processing of absentee ballots on Monday, August 3rd, 2026. It's again for city clerk.
Yeah, so the state started in 2021 to allow for absentee boards to start pre-processing. That originally was just to open the ballot envelopes and then sort them into a pile. In '23, they amended it and changed it so you could actually start processing through the tabulator. So that's what I'm asking for. You're allowed up to 8 days, being that we're above 5,000 population. We just don't need that kind of time. So I think just, 5 hours ahead of time, it's a good head start for us. So that's what I'm asking for.
So we need a motion. Motion by Councilmember Trent and
Yeah.
Support.
support by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd just like to say, I think it's high time, and I wish all communities would do that, eliminate a lot of these
Delays.
slow counting elections and stuff, so I think it's a great idea.
Awesome. Well, sorry,
I just-
Councilmember Salvia.
Thank you, and I'd just like to thank the clerk. You took a moment to show me around some of the, I'll say, increased security measures that you've taken, and so I just appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Trent.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for being proactive at getting this in front of us. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Bixon,
Yes.
Klauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, now we are to reports from the various boards and commissions. And I was not at the Historical Commission meeting. I do have their report, but I don't have my glasses, and that's going to make it a little difficult. So I will report at the next meeting for Historical. Next, we have OPC, and that is Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, we just had a special, literally 10-minute meeting where somebody, a OPC member passed away and left a third of their estate to the OPC, so we had to have a meeting to authorize our lawyers to work with their lawyers.
Wow.
So that's,
Yeah.
but we don't know what the total is, but we know we get a third of it.
Wow, great.
That's a
That was all
wonderful
that.
reason to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Cemetery Advisory Board, Councilmember Salvia.
Yes, so we met July 7th. We had two public comments, one written, one in person. We reviewed the public comments. We're going to review some of our policies and get back on those, but one of the main topics from both of them was pets in the cemetery. So request for continued enforcement, since there seems to be lots of pets walking through the cemetery. They're walking their owners through the cemetery. So we talked about that, and then we really went through, Megan took us through the communication plan for our capital campaign for our gates in the cemetery. We are probably going to be at sidewalk sales, just doing some public awareness for our campaign to fund the gates. And I'm going to hand out the flyers to all of council, so you have these. Really, the push is just between now and the end of September, so we get all of the matching dollars. This is an opportunity to match $45,000. So it ends the end of September. So we've got, and we're also, part of the committee, we're going to put together a fundraiser where we're going to do a fundraiser, kind of a historic walk through our cemetery. Pat McKay has agreed to help us with that.
Sounds wonderful.
Yep.
Who's the $45,000 match coming from?
That's through the Community Foundation.
That is. That's awesome. Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to add, just because one thing was in my historical notes that they talked about that I thought was very cool, that you had discussed recognizing the Underground Railroad. And they say in here that they're working with the Sons of the American Revolution. There's potentially one person buried in Mount Avon Cemetery that they would like to recognize. They're currently documenting the gravesite, and the city will take the cost of the plaque and et cetera. But someone from the Underground Railroad. So that's interesting, I thought.
Yes.
Just a little side note addition.
Thank you.
Okay, Planning Commission, Councilmember Hauser.
Certainly. We had our meeting last Monday, July 6th, and there were a few projects up for discussion. We had two public hearings. One was on the Graham, the change in the siding, which, by the way, is really making some progress. So if you haven't, please go check out the Graham, and you'll really see the structure taking shape. The other one was a request for payment in lieu of parking. There were two projects up for consideration. I'm sorry, three. One is the building at 134 South Main Street. Public may recall, they proceeded with some work that was contrary to what the site plan had been approved on, so they came back, presented their alternate design, and that was greeted with, some positive comments, so that was set for public hearing. The other issue is a special exception related to parking for the property at 139 Romeo. You'll recall that is the former lamp store that was torn down. There's one parking spot issue that's need to be resolved, so that's going to be set for public hearing as well. And then there was the property owner for 530 Pine Street came in to talk about his plans to privatize the parking in his parking lot. It's a brief discussion about a couple things, and then that was set for public hearing as well. At the conclusion of the meeting, we had an election with new officers. So Rich Kensick will remain as the chairperson. David Harden was elected as vice president. I was term limited out, so Dave Harden is now the vice chairperson. And much to her joy, Dr. Laura Murphy is now the secretary of the Planning Commission, okay? We also received updates on the bylaws status, the training and onboarding, and then the zoning ordinance revisions. And I think for the public, Thursday at, I think it's 5 o'clock or whatever time it is, we have a joint.
6:30.
6:30.
We have a 6:30 meeting, joint meeting with City Council and the Planning Commission to talk about the zoning. So that's going to be up at, I'm sorry, was it?
At the fire hall.
At the fire hall, yes. So that'll be, it's only took us 6 months to get everyone's schedules aligned.
A year.
I'll be appearing remotely. And then we had public comment, and then the meeting was adjourned. Any questions about the Planning Commission meeting?
Thank you.
Okay.
Report from City Beautiful Commission, I think just Councilmember Clauser, I think city manager's doing it.
Sure, I was gonna, the date for the sound amplifier, I just wanted to get on everyone's calendars, but I was not there.
She just changed it last night. Because I went and looked at it. Jason,
Okay.
I
think it's August.
Yeah, so the meeting was pretty vanilla. We just talked about what's going on in the park and the status of all the projects with the bridges, or the tot lots, all that, but we focused around the amplifier, so it's pretty much built. They've got, they've got some more work to do on it yet, so they just pushed it back till August 18th, I think, because there's a lot of work to be done over there. The Eagle Scout's been doing a good job on it, but it needs some more work, so that's pretty much what we talked about.
Okay, wonderful. Is there any public comment? With a handful of people here. Megan, is there anyone at home with public comment?
We have no one online, thank you.
Okay, so now, general miscellaneous, Mayor Pro Tem, anything? Oh, sorry, City Clerk. I started halfway down the line.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm still giving out absentee ballots. If you need to, you can even spoil. If you've already returned yours, you can come see me through the 24th to spoil a ballot. I can get you a new one. This week, there's a couple dates. Wednesday is the election workers training that's going to be here after work at 5:15. Then Thursday is the public accuracy test at 2 o'clock. That's going to be in the upstairs conference room. So anybody who wants to attend that can just ask that, or, just let the front counter know, and we can walk you back. I think that's it.
Thank you. City Manager, good. City Attorney.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, just next week is the 50th anniversary tennis tournament right downtown here.
Awesome. Councilmember Trent?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the Oakland Press about the article about the
our
city of
famous
Rochester
council
mission
member.
for monarchs, right there on the front page. And Susan Thwing did an excellent job of writing this article, interviewed a lot of people. It's not just because my picture is really big that I think this is the best article I've read in a long time, okay? I just want to thank the Oakland
I
Press
think
for
it's
doing it.
it's
I
wonderful.
mean, it's a good thing for the city to have
It's a
this
great
type of
thing for the
press.
city.
And
Yes.
it's not just me, there are 2 other council members on here, and Laura, and Laura Murphy, Dr. Laura Murphy, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Hauser?
Other than I had my first monarch on the milkweed Marilyn gave me the other day, I have nothing further. Thank you.
That's very exciting. Councilmember Salvia.
You might be mentioning this, Mayor, but we had some discussion with the city manager about intern for communications and media. So stay tuned, council.
More press.
Exciting.
We're going to communicate better.
Yes. They're going to be tired of our communication in the
Yeah.
city. Councilmember King.
One thing, I think maybe for DPW or city administration, I know Ra did updates to the Hallbatch Field, to the baseball field there. I've noticed lately there are signs that say keep off field, reserved for games only. I don't know if that's Ra's doing, if it's the city's doing.
It's them.
It's them. I do think that is city property. It's a city park. I do think it should be open to residents of the community. I don't know if there's a specific contract with Ra. I think we should give that some consideration. I know our neighborhood plays a kickball game typically ahead of our summer block party. I know other people use it. It doesn't seem that welcoming and inclusive for, a neighborhood park.
I
So
think the problem was, and maybe there's another way to address that, is the amount of dogs that they're playing ball there. It's a very commonplace.
Signs only go up in the field as chalk line for a game, so they don't just stay up.
Okay,
Maybe someone didn't take
Might
them
as well
down.
that-
they may have just have been left up then, because it seemed
I did
like.
not- I did not
walked
know
by
that.
daily, it seemed like for a period they were, I don't know about this morning, but they were up for
I
some
thought it
time.
was to keep the
Yeah.
dogs.
But yeah, it's only for their chalk
Okay.
line.
I think it should be open to the community, just want to make sure that we're
Yeah,
we're doing that.
yeah,
That's it for me.
that makes sense. Councilmember?
I have nothing to add, believe it or
Okay.
not.
I only have a couple things. So tomorrow is the big exciting opening of the skate park. It's at 5:30 to 7 at the skate park location. So please come. It's been a long haul. It's supposed to be 102 degrees, so please come and stand outside on the asphalt. That will be lots of fun for everybody. The Lions, at the Lions Park, there's Eats and Beats on Thursday night. And then downtown, so we got lots of music on Friday and Saturday is Dancing in the Streets, and also sidewalk sales. So a lot of exciting things to keep you going downtown. And that's it. Okay, so now I go to closed session.
We need a motion.
Motion to go into closed session.
Okay, I'm making a motion to go into closed session. What time is it?
Without returning.
Well, I think we are returning.
We might return.
We might return.
It says with.
Depending on the discussion, the intent might be to return. Okay, do I have to say a time or not?
Well, do we make a motion?
Made motion.
Do I make
Yes.
a motion?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we do a roll call, please?
Motion by Bixson, support by Salvia.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Bixson,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay.
Next.